Hey everybody, this is Victor from Cyborg for Life, and I want to welcome you to episode 114 of Limb Lengthening Live, where the patients interview the guests. And today we are doing an open mic. So that is what we're doing today. No guests, but the link is in the description if you guys want to join the panel. So welcome back, everybody. What is going on? What do you want to talk about? Let me see who is in the chat today. It's my guy, Benjamin Mendoza. The MVP is here. What's up? What's up? How are you doing? Are you in class? So I just put this notification out. You got Brian Ruiz. What's up? How are you? Where you chiming in from? Checking my messages. You're just hitting the gym. What are you working out? I worked out legs today. You know, somebody asked me on a patient consultation this week, and they said, do you have any pain from the limb lengthening surgery? And honestly, no, I don't. So it's really, really cool. Big fan of yours. Well, I am a big fan of yours. See, I'm a huge fan of all of you patients and prospective patients. You guys don't know. Really appreciate it. How's everything going for me? Everything's going okay. My training for the World Championship is going according to plan. I got to eat more and rest more. Oh, we got a guest here. What's up, Tim?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
It is good to have you back. I was all alone here on the show, so I was like, I'm glad somebody joined me.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of addicted to your videos and just staying in this community. That mindset keeps me healthy and wanting more and just doing the things I need to for rehab,
Absolutely, man. That's what it's all about. I think that, I call it the LTV, the lifetime value of a prospective or current patient of limb lengthening. Because, I've done some marketing in the past, and usually it's about 16 months. It's usually, a couple months before their surgery, like I'd say 3 to 6 months. And then they watch, everything during lengthening, and then they go and consolidate. But then they, right before they get their nails removed, they start to kind of go back to normal life and they stop watching. So I've kind of found out that that's the average lifespan of a patient.
So I'm like on that peak, right? I'm just like climbing that peak right now.
Yeah. You're climbing to the top, man. I love it. I love it. But yeah, we're just gonna do a Q&A today. It's pretty low key. I think I have, what was it, next week? I think I'm gonna do a discrepancy roundtable, and then I'm trying to get some special guests this year. It's so hard to get, with everybody's schedule and stuff like that. But I love just talking to patients and answering some questions. So let's see what's going on here. Oh, we got my man Socrates in the queue here. What's up, Socrates? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Going good, man. Look at you chilling there. What are you up to?
I just lengthened.
Did you?
Yep. So
Wait, what turn?
My legs propped up. I'm laying on the couch and I have my legs propped up on the arm of the other side of the couch.
Nice.
And this is probably the most comfortable lengthening I've done in a long time. Like, I don't feel that like tense stretching, right? It's just like, I think because I'm already stretching.
Yeah.
So I'm probably gonna lengthen this way until I'm done.
That's so crazy. How many weeks are you in? Are you in 2 months now? 3 months?
Yep. Today is the 14th, March 14th. I had my first surgery December 13th. So 3 months exactly.
3 months exactly. Wow. That's crazy. Oh, that's right. On the right, because you did the left one like 10 days or 2 weeks later.
A week.
A week.
So
okay, gotcha.
Wednesday the 13th was the right, and Wednesday the 20th was the left.
Yeah. When did the pain really drop off the cliff for you? Because I'm talking to a lot of patients now that just recently got their surgery, and I know that we talked about this a little bit last week, but like, is there a special day that you can remember? Was it day 15 or right around day 21? Like, what day did it drop off and you're like, oh, I can get through this?
So for me, because it was staggered, it's going to be a little bit different than bilateral, than like simultaneous bilateral, I should say. So the first day, anesthesia and oxycodone were chef's kiss, right? The second day, anesthesia started wearing off, but oxycodone still got the job done. The third day, the pain just went straight to the moon, okay? And then the fourth day, it calmed down a little bit. There was one time my mom was trying to put socks on my leg, and I didn't want to bend it. So she pushed a little bit at an angle, and it twisted my knee. Oh my God. Like, I still remember that I was just like, Mom, I'm good. I don't want to curse in front of you because you don't like that, but please leave because I'm going to have to bite my tongue for the next half hour. Right. That was day 4, I think. And I also had my first PT session there. And I've been getting questions about, does it make sense to have PT if you're doing staggered bilateral between the first and the second? I think it's optional, but I think it's incredibly beneficial.
Yeah.
That's my personal preference. So if it's covered by insurance, or if it's not a financial issue, and I mean, you're already paying upwards of 60, 70, 80 grand. What's another couple hundred, right? Just for the peace of mind. Right. Especially if you're getting it from an experienced physical therapist, it doesn't make sense not to, in my book. But so anyway, back to the main point.
No, that's fantastic. I think that's great, and I think that was another question I got this week, was like, this is a really good point, actually. It's about physical therapy right after lengthening. How much physical therapy do you need, and what type of physical therapy? Because I think that the big question is, some clinics are like, oh, we got to stretch super hard, go super aggressive in the first week after surgery or something like that. Whereas in my book, from what I've found for most patients, it's like, hey, let's let you recover, let's move, let's get some mobility in there, but let's not overkill it, because you didn't really lengthen anything yet, right? So tell me a little bit
about I didn't even get my ERC yet. I got my ERC on Tuesday after the first surgery, and I had my first PT on Sunday, so I didn't even have the box yet.
Right.
But the physical therapy was really helpful, just in, I think, mostly the benefit, besides the actual stretching and regaining some of the flexibility, is just the psychological understanding from a professional that it's okay that your muscles are this weak, right? Especially for an athlete like myself, where I had just run a marathon less than a week before my PT session. And so to not be able to put any weight on my leg without risking excruciating pain, it's a shot to you. It's humbling. It's not humiliating. It's just humbling. Right. And especially, you can't shower yet. You can't do anything. Right. And I've been in the past. I moved out when I was 16. Right. So to have to go back and live with my parents again while I was doing this, it's just like,
I know.
What the heck is happening?
That's what I did when I was lengthening too, and it was it was nice to have help, though. Definitely, it was very nice to have help.
Oh, for sure. And it did not make sense not to. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're in Baltimore, right? That's where you grew up.
Yeah. So if I had decided to go with Paley, I would have hired a caregiver. But I opted with my parents because
absolutely,
they're going to get you the food you need, the attention you need. You're going to be able to talk to them about other stuff.
Yeah,
besides, oh, my leg hurts, I need some water.
Right.
It's
or take out the garbage.
Yeah. And then I've never used a bedpan before. So that was a humbling experience. Right. And especially because it's for me, before the surgery, I was like, oh, I'll be able to get up. I'll have one, solid leg hasn't been operated. I'll be able to get up and go to the bathroom. No, you get up and you're about to, do it. Yeah. And your brain's just I opened your eyes to make you not wet the bed. Okay. You have 10 seconds. The countdown has already started.
It's go.
So I would say the pain on the 3rd day after that first surgery was the worst up to that point. And then the 4th day I did PT. I think it was tremendously helpful. If I hadn't done PT, I think the pain would have stayed at the same level. So it's another benefit of doing PT. And then Monday was rest day. I did some of my stretching on my own. Stiffness, but no pain. Again, no lengthening yet. Right. Tuesday, another PT session. I think it helped with pain management and also just having someone to talk to about this. Because parents, I suspect 99.97% of people in this, their parents have not gone through limb lengthening. So even if they're supportive, they don't know what the hell you're going through. So it's to deliberately break a leg, that's a different experience. And then so the next day, that was a weekend, I had second surgery on the left leg, and anesthesia, oxycodone did the job again. Thursday, PT and anesthesia kind of wearing off, and oxycodone helped me get through that day with a little more pain on the second Thursday than on the second Wednesday. But it's still, I would say probably like a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
Right?
It dropped off.
That Friday though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that so like I said, the third day was bad. The worst day up to that point pales into comparison. Okay.
Really?
When you have both legs broken, the slightest move, you try and turn, twist, sit up too soon, like anything, you run the risk of just hurting yourself. Literally.
A lot of pain. Yeah, no, definitely. That's crazy. That's so helpful because you took us day by day. And I think that that's, for the most part, pretty much what most patients echo. They say the same thing. It's kind of like third day, once like that, you know, the pain block wears off and everything like that, you feel like a lot of pain. And then, you know, any sudden movements, you just feel that jerk. Like when you said your mom was trying to put on your socks. I remember stuff like that when I had my tibia done. So it's 100% true. And, you know, obviously pain is variable amongst the patients and stuff, but I think that you have some commonalities amongst everybody. It's like, it hurts. You just had your leg or legs broken, so it's going to hurt.
And you have other variables too. So like some people get constipated. Some people take a lot more painkillers because they just naturally are either less tolerant of pain or their bones, they're just generating more pain because either their muscles are more stiff than I was, or because, you know, as a marathon runner, you have got to stretch or you're else just not going to finish, right? So I was a lot more flexible than I otherwise would have been. My nutrition game was on point. Like, so I imagine that I had a lot of just collateral benefits from being a marathon runner that allowed me to kind of just slide right into this, that an average person, especially an average non-athlete, who decided to do the surgery a couple months after finding out about it, like I did, might not have those benefits, right? So
absolutely, you know,
which is why it's important to consult and try and give yourself a realistic timeline.
Absolutely. But, you know, you said something really interesting. I think that a lot of athletes or people who have a lot of muscle on their, especially for femur lengthening, the pain is a lot worse because, you know, the swelling kind of, you know, penetrates into the muscle layers, and you get that contusion, that swelling of the muscle layers, and it just pushes on the nerves, and you get this crazy pain. Did you have a lot of, I guess, sensation pain or sensory pain? Like, was it like kind of just like from the swelling, the inflammation, or was it just like from only moving or, you know, movement?
So there's a lot of, I wouldn't say pain regardless, but more anxiety.
Okay.
Right. So I was taking the anti-swelling medication celecoxib, or some people call it Celebrex, right? Yeah. And I'm still taking it. And also for the first 30 days, I was taking blood thinner shots. Right?
Okay.
I know that they're available in pill form, which is apparently as effective, but much, much more expensive. So the shots are kind of the standard.
Yeah.
I've never given myself a shot before.
I know.
Right? And
it's so hard to do.
The first like 4 or 5 days, my parents did it, and I would just like, I didn't even try. Yeah. And then one night, my dad was working overnight, and my mom was like, I don't want to do that, especially after the sock incident. She was like, I'm not hurting you again. And I was like, okay, but you're kind of hurting me by not doing this. So what are we going to do? And then my brother was there. He was like, dude, just do it yourself. Stop being a pansy. And I was like, okay, you don't got to call me out. Okay, I just had my legs broken on purpose. So I don't know who you're calling a pansy. And then I gave myself the shot, and I was like, oh, I can do this. And I just proceeded to do it myself. And I was like, oh, great. This is nice. So pain... No, more just anxiety about like, am I doing this right? And especially, I want to say about 2 weeks in is when I got the recommendation to start turning over onto my stomach and like laying on my stomach.
Yeah.
At first, I would get up off the bed, turn around, and then just lay down. Right. I didn't have... I wasn't confident in my ability to flip over on my own
Mhm.
But then I worked on it in physical therapy, and I was like, oh, I can do this. So I did it, and you still have to be very careful.
Absolutely.
Any
You
twists, and it's just like, oh, all right, here's another 45 minutes of torture. Deep breaths. This is
you brought
a
up
marathon, not a sprint.
absolutely. Socrates, you said that you took Celebrex. So that's what
Yeah.
may be the difference between you and the other patients that I'm talking to, because at their clinic they're not taking any NSAIDs. And I'm gonna do a video in the next couple weeks on it does non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, impact bone healing. I think that's their fear, but there's not a lot of data on it, at least long-term data in a short term use of the NSAID, right? Like, does it impact fracture healing of the bone? And I was always hesitant.
Do it for 2 weeks.
What's that, for 2 weeks?
Do it for 2 weeks. Look at your X-rays. See how.
Right, but you're not on it anymore, are you?
I'm still on it, and my
you
bone.
Are still on it, and your bone's good.
I have to lengthen at a certain rate, or else I risk premature consolidation on the left.
Very, very interesting. I gotta say that's very interesting. So,
and I'm 35, so it's not like my bones are healing.
Absolutely,
gangbusters because I'm super young.
Because there is research out there that says the NSAIDs kind of interfere with the prostaglandins and the COX-2 mechanism, and basically it just says that it interferes with the body's ability to have inflammatory response to kind of create new osteoblast activity and help the bone heal. I just believe that there's not enough data on it, and I'm going to do a video on this because I think it's really important. And I think there's clinics that surgeons are carpenters of the bone, but biomedical scientists are the experts of drugs and the pharmacists. So look at that. If you have risk of premature consolidation, you're obviously not at risk of
if anything, I need to take it. I need to stay on it
more
because my bones are doing really well, and I am lengthening 0.75 millimeters on the right and alternating between 0.75 and 1 on the left.
Yeah.
But I want to slow down a little bit just because at this point, each lengthening is so intense.
Is it?
Right? It's just like,
when you say that, what do you mean by it's intense?
I can feel like every single turn of the magnet.
Really?
Just pushing.
What's your length now? Because it was last week. It was
65 on the right.
Oh, it's 5. Okay.
58.5 on the left. So
58. So you're almost.
We're getting there.
Yeah, you're definitely almost there. That's great. Yep. I like you moving 0.75 was it 0.75 you're going at?
Right now, yep.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
I might start alternating between 0.5 and 0.75.
Yeah.
But like I said, on the left, I cannot go slower than 0.5.
Right, because you'll
on average per day, or else premature union is
that's
what I learned.
That's a good problem to have, though. I mean, obviously you don't want to go too fast, too slow, but at the same time, it's a good. That means your bones will heal, and you'll get right to, consolidation, heal up, and walk. But
the left is the one that had the saphenous nerve issue that forced me to slow down from 1 millimeter a day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a tug of war between my nerves and my bones, and I am the one who's going to win that tug of war.
You're going to win that.
Both of you stop. Okay. Game over. Okay,
right. Work together. Come on.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. We have NailedLegs on the show. Welcome, man. How are you?
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Good. Yeah, I saw you guys are doing the live. I loved listening to Socrates there. That was really, really interesting. Definitely going to remember everything he said because, going into this, I think, mentally preparing is a big part. So just hearing his experience, starting off and, that initial, like that 3-day, feeling all that pain on the 3rd day. So definitely, I'm very thankful for you sharing, your experience with that. Thank you.
I think if you're prescribed, if you go to a reputable surgeon, you're going to be prescribed Oxycontin or hydromorphone or something. Just take one every 5 hours. Just don't even worry about it. Your legs are broken. You're not going to get addicted over 1 day. Just do it. It's fine.
I even did it for 10 days. So, it's you just want to get out of the pain, and then Tylenol is what I was using after that. And I think I had codeine in also because I didn't like the Oxy just made me feel groggy. So then I went to codeine for a little while to the 2-week mark, and then I was on Tylenol after that. So very cool. Tim, I can't remember it. So Tim, you told us last week, I think you were a prospective patient, correct? I just want to clarify.
No, I'm on 5 weeks in.
That's right. That's right. You had yours in early, February 22nd or something like that.
February 7th.
7th. Okay, so just over a month now. How are things going for you?
Pretty good. Since So I had my surgery over in Germany. I came back to Tampa on February 21st, the first day that I could leave Germany. You know, would do the clicking, so it's like mechanical. So as long as I knew how to do the clicking, it's very tough at first, but I got a hang of it. But once I started PT here in Tampa, it was the clicking got so much easier. Like, you know, once they did the soft tissue techniques, it's just night and day. And I didn't have any of really that hands-on PT in Germany. It was more just like the stretching. So now I'm like, okay. And I had already started lengthening in Germany. So now I kind of like was that whole week of like pain and like clicking, because I guess I was too tight or whatever it was. Like, it could have been avoided if I had the right PT in Germany. So the value of that, going on your PT topic, the value of having the right PT is incredibly important. And I found that out the hard way. But now I'm in a good routine. I concur with Socrates about the pain. I think the first day I was just like, oh man, this is a breeze. Like, what is everybody talking about? I'm still high on the anesthesia. Oh man, this is nothing. Let's go tibias. Let's go. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to a foot taller, you know? And then third day I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? What did I do? Like, oh man, it was like the roller coaster of high to low. I'm like, okay. And also the medication, like, I try to be a tough guy. I said, I don't need, you know, after the first day or two, I was like, I wasn't feeling it. Oh man, it's like, as soon as that, out of 5 or 6 hours, I took my medicine, man. I just, and I haven't stopped. I just take the medicine the doctors told me to take, and everything's been pretty.
That's what it's there for.
That's exactly, yeah. And I don't have an addictive personality, and everyone tells me, oh, you shouldn't take Oxy. I'm like, you know what? I've got 2 broken legs. If there's one time in life that I need to take Oxy, this is it. It's not for a migraine, right? I've got like 2 broken legs, so give me a pass, you know. So, but yeah, that's been good. My main issue right now is like, I've been, you know, like I'm only at 3 centimeters close to it. I don't know what I'm going for, because I have the capabilities of going over 8, and then everything I read about being conservative and being smart and like, you know, and being, you know, under 8. I'm just trying to figure out, like, you know, where to go with that, and I'm still kind of in that research phase. And then the other thing.
How fast are you lengthening, Tim?
I'm going 0.75.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a discrepancy that you're going to resolve at the end? Okay.
No.
0.75 is healthy. You probably won't have any nerve issues from going too quickly for too long. Just listen to your body.
Man.
You can go as much as you want. If you don't have a preset goal, then just go until you can't, or go until you're done, because you will get to the point where you're just tired of it, or you're so tight that you just can't, or, you know, life gets in the way and you're like, I don't, because you got to figure consolidation is another 4 months, 3 to 4 months, depending on how much you lengthen. So like, if you have stuff in the fall that you need to get ready for, you might want to stop at 7 or 8. If you can go into the winter, then 9 or 10 might make more sense. And your starting height and all that, like, it's like a freaking differential equation that you have to figure out. So
exactly,
you got the time,
I have a spreadsheet, yeah, and I keep playing with the numbers. I want to do tibias down the road, and like, I'm very worried about biomechanics more than anything. So it's like, how I don't have any conclusive. I haven't seen anything. Maybe Victor, you may know, like, what the impact of that femur to tibia ratio is on performance. Like, I hear people just doing femurs for 8 centimeters and they're coming back fine, and their ratios are way up, like, you know, not even close to being close to the original. And then so I'm like, okay, well, if I'm doing tibias, that's going to put me back into the 70%, somewhere in the 70s again. Is that good enough, or should I get close, try to get to that magic 80%, you know?
Well, I think it really depends on what activity you're doing. If you're going to be like running long distance like Socrates, then it might be beneficial to kind of be closer to that average. But if you're doing something like just jogging or just general fitness or weekend warrior stuff, then you could probably have it a little skewed and not have any impact. What's your typical
basketball?
Basketball? Oh, you play basketball? Okay.
Yeah, no, that's like the number one, like, toughest thing, I think. Maybe probably doing jump, agility, left, right, running, everything.
All the nimble, like, yeah.
All the nimbles.
Right. Oh my gosh, man, Tim, I'd probably try to keep, you know, biomechanics as average as possible. And the really cool thing is that you said you had a weight bearing nail, so you can kind of check things out, and it does keep your muscles kind of active the whole time. They're not kind of like, going dormant. So I think as far as height and how far you want to go, you can kind of stand up, check yourself in the mirror, say, oh, I like that height, looks good. And then if you're planning tibias in the future, I would try to obviously you want to get to that close to the magic 8 as you can. But I don't think it matters. I mean, really, you just got to kind of find out what looks best and what suits you best. But, there's so much variability in the population. I mean, I think, was it NailedLegs or somebody found some proportion statistic out there? I can't remember who it was, but nah, man, just are you going to definitely get tibias done or just femurs?
100% tibias.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually researching surgeons because I don't want to go back to Germany.
Yeah.
I want to stay in the U.S. now.
Okay, there you go. You're in the U.S. I'd say try to shoot for the 8 as possible. Do you know your arm length and stuff? Do you care about like aesthetic proportions, or you just care about
I do. I've been blessed with a huge wingspan. So my starting height was 163.6 centimeters, and my wingspan is 178.2.
Gotcha. Well, then you could, shoot for the stars. I mean, just
you can do quadrilateral and have no impact on your wingspan to height ratio.
Right.
Yeah, I would love to get ideally 5'10" was like my dream height.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was.
Is that 178?
Yeah.
That's 178. Gotcha. 178, yeah.
Well,
yeah, we'll shoot for. I mean, that's 15 centimeters. I mean, that's quite a bit. But I think, but you know what? Like I said, like Socrates said, if your body's not fighting you back, then you can. It's what the body can tolerate. So I see a comment in here actually, and I'll scroll to it. We'll get the other ones in here, but this person's asking, Alucard saying, Cyborg, I'm going to be doing the max height for 18 to 20 centimeters. Wow. This is really relevant because it talks about in a couple of weeks to be on the podcast. When I'm done with the surgeries, they're going to be a couple weeks apart. So I seriously want to talk about this versus what Tim's talking about, because this is a big difference, right? So 18 to 20 centimeters. I don't even know the math. I'm not a math guy. Socrates, you're a numbers guy. What is that in inches?
So
it's like
1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. Yeah. So 20 centimeters would be like 7.5, 8 inches.
Whew.
That is a tremendous amount of height.
It is. And to do it just a couple weeks apart, I can tell you're not going to be liking the results of that. So I definitely recommend you reconsider. You can come on the show today and ask your questions, but I think that's going to need to be rethought.
Honestly, first thing that comes to mind, that doesn't sound humanly possible.
No, it doesn't. And I'm sure it's been done before.
Even if you're just doing LON, it's going to be absolute torture. And you're going to have to slow down to like 1/4 of a millimeter a day for weeks.
This is a wheelchair-bound result. I mean, you're not going to be walking after this, at least not correctly. So I definitely, Alucard, I
need like a couple IT band releases. Like this is nightmare after nightmare.
Your knees are going to be bent like this. So I'm not trying to make fun of anything, but you haven't gotten the surgery yet. So you can rethink your goals. You can still get your surgery, just lengthen and observe. So I would say go conservative first, see how your body's tolerating it. If you can kind of squeeze out some more height without any danger and impact on your long-term health, then, all the better. But definitely don't do that. I think I can guarantee you that there's going to be problems if you're not like a person with dwarfism of some sort.
He's certainly welcome to join the podcast.
I would love that
from the beginning. Like, why wait until the end?
Absolutely.
Have your surgery and tell us. Like Ryan, we had Ryan on here the day of his surgery a couple weeks back. That's fantastic. Yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, Alucard, let's rethink that. But all right, guys, so we got some questions in the chat here. So let's go through these and see what we got going on. So Ben said he's just hitting the gym. That's where we left off. I had my surgery 3 months ago. Okay, Brian, come on the show. There's a link in the description of this video. If you click it, you'll come on the queue and I'll kick you on the screen.
Yeah, here. Brian, come on. I want to ask you about how you're getting ready for consolidation, because it sounds like that's probably where you're at.
Absolutely.
You're either right at the end of this direction or you've actually started it.
Mm-hmm. I got taller by 4 inches last week. NailedLegs. How is that possible in 1 week?
I think the Wolverine is watching the podcast.
The Wolverine. Yeah. You break your legs, you lengthen them, you heal, you're good to go. Oh my gosh. What's your topic request? Come on the show and just tell us. That'd be great. You would love to be on the live? Okay, I'm just going through your comments here. Yeah, there's a link in the description if you're still watching. Socrates wants to interview you. Amon's saying, how's everyone? We're all great. You want to join? All right. So he's saying if one guy got a bad result, that doesn't mean the company is bad. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what he said. They have hundreds of success stories. Oh, he's talking to somebody in here, I guess.
Yeah, maybe an internal conversation they're having.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Aiden saying, greetings, Socrates. Hello, Victor.
Hey, Aiden, how are you?
Yeah, a lot of fans out there, Socrates. NailedLegs does too. People were emailing me. They're like,
after my namesake, he had a lot of fans too. But then they put him to death, so hopefully that doesn't happen to me.
Oh, Socrates. Yeah, that's your namesake. Here's one for you guys, for Socrates and Tim. After the surgery, is your travel quality affected? Does the nail cause trouble with the TSA, X-ray machines, things like that?
Not X-ray. We have to get X-rays every 2 weeks as a function of this procedure, and you want to be able to get X-rays for this. So X-rays are fine. I am very hesitant and have yet to meet anyone who is gung-ho about flying over and over during distraction. Some people will leave where they operated, like the city they operated in, to go back home and distract there. Okay, it's a one-time thing. They do give us, at least here in the US, I don't know about Germany, what they gave you, Tim. They gave us some cards that said, I have a rod in my legs, to essentially be like, pat me down, don't put me through the whatever machine. How did your flight from Germany?
Yeah, I had the surgeon's note, and basically they didn't even check that. They just said, can you go through the machine? I was like, no. And they said, okay, we'll pat you down. I mean, I was in a wheelchair, so when they rolled me around the airport.
Okay,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think also it depends on the device, but I don't think MRIs are a good idea, at least if you have the precise nail, because it's magnetic. And
I don't think I'm allowed. Like the card explicitly says, I'm not allowed in an MRI machine.
Yeah, you're not. That would be very, very bad. So it's called magnetic resonance imaging. Yeah, with that magnetic nail. Yeah, no.
We just lengthened the whole 8 centimeters in one sitting, right?
Hey, that's how the guy lengthened 4 inches in 1 week.
That's exactly how he did it.
We put the rods in and sat in an MRI machine. Perfect. Okay.
That's the fastest way to do it, guys. Cyborg approach.
Amputation the next day, though.
Right, exactly, right. They actually did that in the old days. Quinn, Dr. Schrader, he actually came on the show and we did a history of limb lengthening thing. And back in the old days, they had a traction device that would attach it to the heel, the calcaneus of your heel bone, and they would pull, your legs over like a short period of time. But there was a lot of necrosis and dead tissue, so not very good in a short time. Amputation was.
I have an inversion table.
Yeah,
just right over there in my room, and I am so tempted to just have someone like pick me up and put me on it, and then just like lock my ankles in and flip over. I would probably lengthen like half a centimeter in one sitting, but nope, no sir.
No, you're not gonna do that. That would actually probably feel really good for your back, because I'm guessing like right now, does your back?
Beforehand, it felt fantastic, but I haven't been able to do pull-ups. I can't hang. Not that I don't have the muscle mass. Like I haven't lost a lot of upper body muscle mass. It's just the risk of like not getting down safely is really, really high.
Yeah.
And I've injured myself, my shoulders doing pull-ups before. Not because I was doing too many pull-ups or whatever. I was trying to impress a girl, and I went from 2 hands to 1 hand and too quickly, and I heard the snap, and I was like, all right, there goes 6 months. Right. So but yeah, it's
did you tear a rotator? A rotator cuff or
no? So I heard the snap like in this general area.
Yeah.
It ended up not being the shoulder. It was the back of my lat.
Oh, okay.
Right. Gotcha. Where it ties into the trap.
Okay.
So even the motion of doing pull-ups was painful for like 3 weeks. So yeah, my pull-up game was
the girl impressed
for months.
Was she at least impressed?
She didn't even see it. It was an absolute mess.
That's the worst. It's like, hey, watch this real quick. It's like she's like goes on with her day. That sucks. Oh man. M. Carter has a question saying, which segment affects your biomechanics more, femur lengthening or tibias? Look, I'm gonna go with femurs all day, every day. I'll say that has the biggest impact on your biomechanics for athletes and people who do things like squats and stuff. The tibia is a vertical bone. So if you think everything like the fulcrum is the knee, so basically Can it affect things? Absolutely. But will it affect as much as the femur? No. I mean, that moment arm is already longer. So you increase it with more length, most likely because you're going for more height. It's going to have a bigger impact for most patients. Things like squatting for sure, deadlifting, closed chain movements, running. That's one I don't know. I think that would still be the femur. I just need some, I don't know. I'd have to kind of look at some data on that. I need Stu Lane. NailedLegs, go find
the
them.
bone itself is important, but I would think when you're talking about running, you get into the soft tissue overall because your ankle is going to impact your gait and your explosiveness a lot more than your quads. And you can always strengthen your quads. It's just plain easier than your ankle. You know what I mean? So if you botch tibias, your running is done. If you botch femurs, you can recover your running.
I agree with you 100%. I think that like I was going to more like if you had both of them perfectly done, which one would affect it more? I would say femurs, but like you're right, the risk of messing up things way higher with the tibias. And you're right, if you have an equinus contracture, you're looking at a potential Achilles tendon rupture. In fact, when I first came back, I had some tension back there, and I purposely didn't run for about, I think it was closer to an extra 6 months. So I really didn't go out for like another sprint besides that one photo shoot at 11 months for about 18 months until 18 months after the surgery before I was comfortable with running because I felt there was some extra tension behind that Achilles, so.
Someone was asking me earlier today in my running group and what my plan is. And I was like, honestly, at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to walk and only walk until I take the rod out. And then I'm going to go like balls to the wall and train for a marathon in 3 months again.
I don't know. I think you'll be able to run before then, Socrates. I just think that it would have to be kind of, your body has this innate, I call it cyborg sense, but it's going to be like a spider sense where you can kind of feel what's possible and what's not. And I think this is where physiotherapists, physical therapists and surgeons go wrong, or they don't know because they're the ones doing the surgery and rehabbing you, but they're not the patient who actually goes through it. So I just know that you kind of feel this natural progression over the months after lengthening and after consolidation. And I call it the rebuilding phase which is after consolidation, where you feel like, oh, I can go ahead and do more weight on the squat. Now I can do more on the deadlift. Okay, now I feel comfortable with a little shuffle jog. Now I can go for an all-out jog. Now I can go for an incline sprint. Now I can go for a flat sprint. Now I can go for downhill sprinting, and then jumping, and then agility moves. So it's kind of like this natural progression. And if you do it correctly and you really build up the musculature and all the stability muscles and the balance and stuff over time, you'll have a perfect recovery. It's just, I think there's a misconception, and I don't think there's not a lot of data. And I think I got to get out there, maybe create some stuff with some physical therapists and come up with a post-consolidation recovery or rebuilding phase. So there's definitely that phase that's not talked about. People talk about getting back to normal life, but then what's after that? They phase away too quickly. I can't get them. So
from the end of consolidation to the nail removal phase.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really, really potentially good PhD thesis.
Like
MD PhD student or something.
Right. I just want you to get back to running as soon as possible so you can do some more marathons. We can hear about it. That'd be great.
I know. My friend was telling me about he's doing Rhode Island, and apparently you can do all six of the New England states in like a week, which is insanity.
How far is that?
I was like, you better not be planning on that. Especially not without me. And he was like, no, I'm doing one. Okay, well, I was just telling you it's possible. I was like, okay, good. I might save that for like the last 6 states I get, because I do have the goal of running a state in every marathon. I mean, in every state.
And a marathon's like, was it 26 miles or something like that?
26.2 miles. Yep.
Ooh, I can't even drive that.
So it's funny. My first 20-mile run, which is a psychological barrier they tell you to get over before your first marathon. So I did that in Pittsburgh, and my friend up there, we had brunch together, and he saw my map image of it, and he was like, dude, it's a Saturday morning and it's cold. I don't even feel like driving 20 miles. What are you doing? And I was like, I'm running. And he was like, I see that.
It's in you guys' blood, man. I'm a sprinter, a lifter, and that's it. You make me run very far. That's why I hate cardio. Oh man, I love it. All right, let's see what we got in here. A doctor did it and he's still walking. Okay, a couple of ITB releases. They're laughing at what you said. Just jump back up. Let's see what we got. Any questions that I didn't see in here? Oh, okay. Can I kick a punching bag with full force once I fully recover from tibial lengthening, or are they going to be more susceptible to break easily? Look, that's a very good question. I was, again, remember that cyborg sense that I was talking about? I didn't feel comfortable doing something like that, impact, like direct transverse impact, like horizontal impact against like a vertical bone. I didn't even do that till well after 2 years, because there was a punching bag at my gym, and I was just like, I punched it, but I was like, I just didn't feel comfortable kicking it yet, because there's just still like the ossification, like the hard, consolidated, compact bone. I felt like it wasn't all there. It was enough to walk on. You had the cortical walls and whatnot, but like for like that direct impact that like people with Muay Thai and kickboxers would kind of go through, I just did not feel comfortable with that. Could I have done it? Maybe. I didn't do it. I just don't think you should do it until you feel like that's your cyborg sense is telling you to do so. So just be careful, because if you get all this length, you get back, you heal up, you're back to your normal life. You do one kick, you're like, crap, I'm back in a wheelchair. So that would suck.
That was actually one of the things I was, very concerned about. My initial plan, currently with, doing quadrilateral limb lengthening with Dr. Burkholtz, 4 and 4. My plan is, after I do the procedure and I'm, at least able to walk, I'm going to basically, I'm quitting my job. I'm going to travel the world for a year. And, so I'm going to be walking. I'm going to be, getting on planes, going all up, down, and around, different tourist destinations all around the world. So one of the things that like worries me is, will my legs be able to take all of that? Say I need to go, walk through some city, because I'm just touring it. Will my legs be able to take that or not? How far could I push it? Or do I really, maybe traveling the world during this time, maybe it wouldn't be the best idea, because I do plan on going back for a re-break and then, doing the full 8 on both segments. But, that is one thing that worries me. And Dr. Burkholtz also mentioned how there is the possibility of the nail may malfunction for the re-break, which would necessitate swapping out the nail for a new one. So, that is something that worries me. What if I push it to the limit too far? Maybe somehow, some way, I disable the nail because I just pushed a little bit too far. Sure, I'm consolidated, but, that is something that worries me.
I don't think you have anything to worry about. I like that question, but I don't think you have anything to worry about. Why? Because once the bone is consolidated and you have the cortices, like the cortical walls back in place, that's what's, supporting your load, your mechanical load. So, I mean, the nail's still fixated. You do have that extra support in the middle of it for stability and whatnot, but like, it's no longer taking 100% of the impact. So it's like, you should be able to walk, like speed walk and whatnot as much as you want. In fact, it probably would only help you heal faster, because it's like bone responds to stress. But I think you'd have to kind of feel it out. Like if you wanted to do something more aggressive, like running or skydiving, or things that might be out of the ordinary, if you will. But a re-break, it should be fine. I mean, if you're looking at within like a 2-year time span, but you're right. If it's a malfunctioning device, I think the company would probably have to jump in there. I mean, I don't know if Socrates, have you met any like reps for the nail when you had it done?
Only my rep for the ERC.
Okay.
I have no intention. I mean, of consolidating and then re-breaking. I'm going for just one distraction phase. But we met Bob Hunt, and like I've talked with other people who've had re-breaks, and it's been successful.
Yeah.
Like you said, just don't wait 5 years.
Yeah. Because you know what? There was a guy who actually got it done. I think it was I think it was like 2014 he got it. So it was like 8 or 9 years ago, from when I talked to him like a year or two ago. And now it's been like 10 years. And his nail did stop working, I think. And they had to do a nail swap. So that may happen. But I'm sure the company is going to be like, okay, if it's a defective device, they're going to come in and swap it out. You have to pay for the surgery and whatnot. I don't think you have to pay for the device. That's just my thoughts, but I wouldn't know for sure. Socrates, if you talk to your rep, maybe you can say, if the nail malfunctions, are we liable for that? So I'm not sure.
Yeah, what's the warranty? Like, what's
warranty?
How long do they stand behind the product? If they're like, oh, if it's in your body for more than 3 years,
we're
done. It's
right.
That's on you. Right.
That's possible. That's possible.
So, but
The
I don't
impression that I
remember
got
signing
from
any document saying I would remove the nail within 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the re-break is not the default assumption
True.
when you install the nails. The assumption is you're going to lengthen and extract the nail in a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So
the impression that I got from Dr. Burkholz when I did the consultation with him is that, you know, if it were to malfunction, I would have to basically pay for a new nail. But maybe I misunderstood, because maybe he just meant, you know, just like this extra surgical cost in, you know, taking the nail out, putting a new nail in, because if, you know, that would take more time in the operation room and things like that. So maybe that's what he meant by that. I also know that he mentioned something along the lines of how, because I asked him, you know, how many re-breaks has he done in the past, things like that. And long story short, he basically said he hasn't done it like the plan that we're planning on doing with cosmetic patients. Of course, he does deformities, he does, trauma patients, he does all that more. But specifically in my case, where, I'm a cosmetic patient, I have no deformities, nothing's wrong. I would actually be, from what I understood, and I'm going to double check, the next consultation I do with him, because I don't want to speak, on his behalf and say the wrong thing, but I would be his first cosmetic re-break patient doing 4-4 re-break and then another 4-4. Nice. Which doesn't worry me at all, because, as anybody that's done any research, breaking the bone is the easy part. It's the lengthening phase that gets you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're doing 4-4, I think that's what the guy who comes on here, Above Tempo, he comes on a lot of times. He's doing that as well. And he's going to be the first patient that I know publicly that's going to do that, and he's going to give us the results. So I'm sure he can give you some enlightenment on how that goes. So that'll be really cool.
Do you know what surgeon he went to?
Soon?
What's that?
Isn't he re-breaking soon?
He is, actually. I think it's going to be this year for some time. I think he said late summer or fall.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Best of luck to him.
I know, for sure. I would love them to come back and let us know what his thoughts are. M. Carter saying, what's the max? Oh, sorry, NailedLegs.
Oh, do you know what surgeon he went to?
Yeah, exactly. Did you hear that?
Who? I'm sorry.
Paley. Burkholz, I would. So in Egypt, we have this phrase: "Put in your belly a summer watermelon," as in just eat it. You'll be fine. Okay, just do it. You'll be fine. So Burkholz, just put in your belly a summer watermelon. You'll be fine.
Yeah, he's experienced.
He's world class.
Right. M. Carter saying, what's the max you can lengthen the tibias? So Tim, can you answer this for M. Carter, even though you haven't done the tibias yet?
Well, it's the different surgeons recommend different things. Depending on which nail you use, and but from at least my research is 5 seems to be the safe limit, but some say 6, but it seems to be 5. Mm-hmm. But technically, I know patients with the Betz bones that have done 7.6 at one go on the tibias. Very slow distraction, but they have done it, and it's a full weight bearing nail. So, so it does matter on the nail and the surgeon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I think it just goes with that statement of mine. I love it. Lengthen and observe. It's like there are some patients with good experienced surgeons that have gone over 5 and even gone over 6, and they've been successful. And I'm not going to say you can't do that. I think that you want to start paying attention once you get around those extreme lengths, because there's a lot of data that shows that there's an exponential increase in risk of complications after the 5. But it's not to say that you can't go above it. And if your body's like saying, "Hey, you can keep lengthening, you have good dorsiflexion and whatnot," who's to stop you? It's just, if you have a complication, don't keep pushing for more length, because then you're going to have some repercussions.
Yeah, I really like the re-break strategy, especially for the tibias. That doesn't make sense for the femurs. Honestly, the 8, you can do that one shot. Most people can safely if you do it well. But for the tibias, it seems like, okay, you could do a safe 3 or 4, and then if you really wanted the extra length, doing a re-break for another 3 or 4. That seems like a really conservative, safe way to maximize the tibia length.
We talk about this re-break technique. I actually believe it should be a little different. I think it should be, I believe the ultimate the biomechanical ratio that we were talking about a little earlier. And again, I need data on this, but I do think that if you think about it, the femur and the tibia are not like the same length, right? So if you do a full 8 and 8 on a femur and a tibia, you're actually skewing your proportions more than you could. You could do something like 6 on the tibia and 10 on the femur. I think that would still be the same, right? Yeah, 8 and 8 is 16. So I think like 10 on the femur over a rebreak, that'd be 5 and 5 or whatever. And then 3 and 3. Again, I'm not a numbers guy. I can't do math here. On the tibia would be better for biomechanical biomechanics long term. That's my thought. It keeps the natural ratio of the proportions and the biomechanics that you've kind of walked in with 0.8, right? If you do the math, if you say that you have 40 centimeter long femurs and 30 centimeter long tibias, and you add equal amounts to both, you actually skew your proportions more if you add a little bit more to the femurs and then a little less to the tibias. So actually, that's something to think about.
May I add to that?
Yeah, go ahead, NailedLegs.
So that was really great point you brought up. I remember, on the forum, that was like a big talking point where, a lot of people were citing the one study where it was basically like the human cadavers and how, once you skew the tibias to being too long to like the femurs, like the 0.78 or the 0.8 ratio, they observed arthritis in the knees. And I know because I watched the interview you did with Dr. Rosberch, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name. He seemed to give credit to that study. But in the last interview you did with Dr. Paley, and actually I have it pulled up on another screen here. It's at the 1 hour, 3 minute, 40-second mark, where somebody else, you submitted the question there. Dr. Paley seems to not really give that study much credit and doesn't, and he basically stated something about how it's no issue. It's as far as like arthritis, as far as pain, it's not an issue if you skew the ratio. I remember I did bring that up to Dr. Burkholz as well during the consultation. So it is interesting to me that, there seems to be a little bit of differing opinion on that. But I figure if Dr. Paley says it's no big deal, it's probably not a big deal.
I like that. I do, because I actually found that same study before he did. And I came across it when I was looking into the proportions thing when I was doing that back in early December. And I agree with it for people who have low impact lives, right? But if we're talking for high level athletes like myself or Tim or Socrates, or people who are really out there getting it, like going to working out and stuff, I think that changes the scenario, because these people, these cadavers, we don't know what their lifestyle was like, or does it say were they all athletes? Because when you're an athlete and you have a lot of bending of the knee, like Socrates running for 26.2 miles, or myself squatting 405 for reps, or 315 in the front squat, it doesn't matter. It's like there's a lot more stress biomechanically, because your torso matters, and like your hip hinge matters, and all these different biomechanical changes. And that's why I want to bring on the world's best guy that I found for biomechanics. I'm going to call him out again, Stu. Dr. Stu McErlane at Loughborough University. Get available. Let's go. If I can interview him and do some sort of research with him on stature patients, I think that'll bring a lot more clarity to this, question, because we just don't have enough data to say. Because like I said, Dr. Paley, it's like he treats patients, medically first. Now he's doing stature, but like, and he might be right. Like for people who work out and, run and stuff, they probably don't have any issues. But I think that there's still not long-term data. Like we're talking 30 plus years for this. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts. That's my thoughts. So Socrates, you're too quiet.
I'm just soaking it in.
Just soaking it. All right. You're going to answer this next one. All right.
I think for athletes in general, though, we're just so used to like going above and beyond the call to action that if there's an issue, most athletes are just going to suck it up and push through. Maybe just, take a leave for the rest of their lives when that wasn't a habit before. Or they're going to have a separate procedure to fix it. And then if they get arthritis down the road, they'll just replace their knees or
100%. You bring up a fantastic point, because myself, having discrepancy for so long, I actually had a little knock knee on my right leg, which was taller, a little valgus on my left knee. It actually caused a torn meniscus on my lateral side of my left leg. So I still had that. I need a meniscectomy when I'm done bodybuilding. And even when I squat deep, I can
World
see
Championship this year, right?
What's that?
World Championship this year?
Next year. I got to start dieting after Thanksgiving. So
okay, got it.
I know you guys are going through pain. I'll be going through my own pain then. So don't worry about it. But I think that, like, for myself, I'm sucking it up right now because it hurts. Like, every time I have to warm up my knees for like almost 20 minutes before I start squatting the big loads. But I think it's to the point where, like you said, athletes, like pro athletes and stuff, people who are like high level, they're just going to suck it up. And, you know, I'm young enough that I don't need to go crazy. I mean, that I don't need to get a surgery right now, but that's why I want to win this world title and retire before I get really messed up. So very good point there, Socrates.
So a lot of athletes retire in their 30s, right?
What's that?
It's not a long-term pursuit, right?
No. It's get that.
And not at the highest levels, right? You're not going to be, you know, squatting 405 for reps in your 50s. If you are, you're a freak of nature.
Right. And there's some people that could do that, but no, I'm trying to get this thing retired. I've been in the sport for too long. I want my donuts. So all right, let's see here. Toparge, or whoever you say it, saying, while using a precise max nail and doing quadrilateral lengthening, do you think I can lengthen more than 20 centimeters? I'm 166 centimeters, hoping to reach 178 or 179. Am I being realistic? Tim's going to answer this because that sounds very much like what he's shooting for.
Yeah, I think the 178, 179 is pretty realistic. The 20, I don't know exactly where. I mean, is he trying to overshoot the 178, 179? Because that's the math.
I think
I want to give this person a benefit of the doubt and assume that he was typing faster than he was thinking, and he was thinking 12.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I think
166 to 178 is 12. Why does it need 1 and 20?
Yeah, I think that's realistic, but one thing for sure, it's not an easy process. I don't want to think it's like a walk in the park. Like, I know we're always happy and we're on here. It's one of those things. Like, yeah, I'm very glad I'm going through the process. But for, you know, my piece of advice for prospective patients is you really got to want it. If you really want the 12, and you do the research, do the safety precautions, and you lengthen and observe. I think it's extremely realistic. With that, I have to
answer the question about more than 20, though.
No.
Precise max does not make it safer to lengthen more than healthy amounts. So you can do 8 and 5 without risking catastrophic damage. If you push beyond that, I don't think the precise max is even able to do that, unless you do the re-break and get the full 8 on the tibias. And, you know, there are people out there online who said they have 3 surgeries to get the 20 and whatnot. Best of luck to them, but it is an intense, chaotic, difficult, expensive, debilitating procedure. Like, everything that you put into this, it's not free. There's a high price to pay, and it gets more expensive as you go. So 20 centimeters is a ridiculous amount of height to add to your legs. More than 20, at that point, you're I don't have to say anything. Your nerves are going to yell at you for me.
It's so true. It's so true. You probably snap them.
Yeah. So I was going to say, guys, I actually have to run to another appointment, but it was fun, and I hope to catch you guys in another live open mic soon.
Absolutely, Tim. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
No problem. Take care. Y'all have a great day.
All right, you too, man.
Best of luck to you,
Good
Tim.
luck.
All right, we got Aiden here saying, "Hello, Vic. What do we know regarding the precise max? Is it true that those patients that have it are getting it replaced?" Oh yeah, I don't know anything about that. I think I've heard from the patient that I was kind of talking to. He said that his nail, he got his X-rays this week, and it is lengthening. So apparently his is okay. For people who are watching who may not know, there were some issues with the precise max nail, and it was kind of put on a supply hold, not recalled necessarily, but a supply hold, meaning they're not releasing more. And then surgeries have been paused. Will they resume soon? We will find out. I guess the company's going to make some sort of announcement. And like I said, if Dr. Paley, who was the inventor of the nail or helped with the invention of the nail, if he wants to say something, I'll definitely like to have him back to help patients out with that. But yeah, I'm not so sure, Aiden, what's happening with that, but we will find out hopefully.
Honestly, out of respect for the current batch of pmax patients' privacy, I think it's probably best to just wait and see, right? Because if you want to know if pmax is safe or not, you should be having a surgeon consultation. This is not not the best venue for that, because none of us are in the thicks of figuring out what.
No idea.
I don't think anyone here has actually seen a pmax nail in person.
I've only seen it like pictures of it, but like
Exactly.
and it's inside patients' legs that
Well,
have
I mean-
sent me pictures of the legs.
Exactly.
I saw one in a dream one time.
Oh, nice. Nice.
What color was it?
Yeah.
I'm just-
RGB actually.
what is it? Red, green, and blue. I love it.
Well, I didn't mean to knock Aiden's question. No, it's a fair question.
Yeah.
It's just you're probably not going to get the most thorough answer from secondhand knowledge, which is what we have here on this venue.
Yeah, and even the surgeons don't know a whole lot. I think the company's keeping a lot under, tight-lipped right now because they just want to be careful. This was a big project release for them. It's been a recall for over 3 years. I think it's been over 3 years, and now they just released this thing, and then basically they're like, "Crap, we got to put this on supply hold." So they're probably not feeling very good about it either. So
Yeah, and they're under new management. So Globulus is it Globus? I think they're like,
Globus, yeah,
what the
Globus.
heck are you guys doing? So
Yeah.
their engineering team is probably like, oh crap, we are under the microscope right now.
Absolutely.
alone.
and I hear rumors of their other nail might be making rumbles, but we'll see. M. Carter, I wanted to go for the femurs, but my doctor insisted that I do the tibia because I have bow knees, bow legs, and the doc said that they'll have to correct the bowing and do the lengthening at the same time. Yikes. Yeah, look, if you don't have severe deviation or angle deformity, they can do both at the same time. That's a good thing because then it can fix two problems with one-shot surgery. So your doctor's going to know best. They took your x-rays. If they're an experienced surgeon and you trust them, definitely listen to them. But yeah, they can do that. A lot of times they can do the tibia correction the lengthening and the correction at the same time.
And insurance is likely going to contribute more.
That is true. That is very true. It's a medical necessity because if it's over a certain amount, I guess if it's like a slight curvature, they might like say, but
No,
Sal's
I remember
saying
Journey
the
had that
surgeon to
actually.
say that they have to do tibias over femurs, it's probably significant.
that is true. That is true, Socrates. Yep, very good point. What'd you say, NailedLegs?
Height Journey, I remember he had that, he has a YouTube channel where he talks about it. He had like a rotational deformity, I believe it was. So Dr. Osiog managed to fix it.
4
at
or
the same
5
time.
degrees above the accepted
Average.
range or something like
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he
And
didn't mention explicitly that insurance heavily subsidized his tibia lengthening because of that. So-
I can just see every patient now. They're like, "Oh, please!" When they take their X-rays, like, "Please be something wrong. Please be something." Insurance cover this surgery.
Oh goodness.
Just
I'm
take a
praying.
hammer to your leg before the X-rays.
Yeah, exactly. Like, boom.
Yeah.
What happened to your leg?
Don't actually do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Sal is saying, do you think it's getting better to get? Do you think it's better to get 5 + 5 on the femur and tibia, or is better than 6 and 4? Because of biomechanics, absolutely. I think 6 and 4 is going to be your go-to all day, every day. Like I said earlier, I think if you add both numbers to top and bottom, the 0.8 ratio, you're going to be closer with a 6 and 4 versus a 5 and 5. And I could be wrong. I could just do the math wrong. Socrates could do this for me later. But if you take if you measure your leg bones on X-ray, and you add 5 to the femurs and 5 to the tibias, and you divide them, tibias over the femur length, you'll find that is further away from the 0.8 ratio than if you did 6 and 4. Okay, of femurs to tibia, and then divide the tibia over the femur. It's just the natural nature of the bones. The femur is a naturally longer bone, and that's in some cases. There are some patients who have almost an equal bone length of each. So you got to look at that.
I think part of it also is that they insert the rods in the tibias first,
Yes.
in order to have the knee flexion, and therefore you start lengthening in the tibias first, but you lengthen less per day in the tibias than the femurs, because the nerves just cannot handle going the same rate unless it's a low rate for both, right? Like if you're doing 0.5 each, you can probably handle it. But I would be shocked if your average person can handle 1 millimeter femurs and 0.75 tibias for more than like 1 day a week, right? Multiple days in a row, unless you are like literally just popping Percocets, it's not going to work. So that might factor in as well, because you're going to end up with a longer time horizon of lengthening the tibias versus the femurs. But because the rate of lengthening on the femurs is less, that might end up making them equal out. It might be just like a practical consideration of 6 and 4 being you're not going to end lengthening around the same time. It'll be an extra couple weeks for the one adjustment. But if biomechanics are that impactful for your sport that you're getting back to or whatever, then do your research. You have, this is a cosmetic surgery. You have plenty of opportunity to get ready beforehand. No one should be surprised by anything you do here. And if you have any questions, ask your surgeon before they break your legs.
That's actually a really good one. I gotta screen clip that. That's put that on a YouTube short. That's actually really funny. Ask your surgeon before they break your legs. I love it. All right, JM. Precise max, is it really weight bearing or is it a risk? Is it a risk of breakage? So it really depends on like the load bearing capacity and what diameter nail you get. Because the thicker the nail, it's gonna have more load bearing capacity, so it can handle more weight versus like I think it's a 10. An 11.5, a 13, and a 14. So obviously the 10 is going to be a lot weaker or doesn't have as much capacity as the 14. So let's see.
Invasive is comfortable calling it weight bearing, so they're going to stand behind their product.
Did they say that? I don't think they said that.
I haven't seen anything official. But it's just through a grapevine.
You know what?
I could be wrong.
You know how it works, Socrates. So they sell their name. They say. They just say precise max. They know what they're doing, but they don't say weight bearing. They just say precise max, a more durable device, and then they send it to the surgeons. The surgeons are the ones who can say weight bearing because that's their marketing. Because as long as the blood doesn't go back on the company's hands, they're all good. So that's how it works.
It's always hilarious whenever I see someone saying FWB nail, and I'm like, friends with benefits, what are we doing here? And I'm like, oh, full weight bearing. Okay, let me get my mind out the gutter for a second.
Right. Oh man, gotta love invasive. All right, Toparge is back. While using precise max nails, oh man, you gotta love invasive free marketing today. And doing quadrilateral lengthening does the 10 centimeters 5'5". Didn't he just ask this? Constrain me, or can I lengthen 12 centimeters? I'm 160. Yeah, you.
He was probably correcting his initial question.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Remember how he said 20 centimeters, and we were like, "What?"
Yes. Okay, so he fixed that. Yep.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't put it out then.
Right. And the 5 and 5, like I think if it's that minimal, like it's 1 centimeter difference, you might be okay. But if it's something like you're going for like, let's say a total of 13 centimeters and you do, that's like 8 and 5, right? That's why we talk about the 8 and 5 versus you're not going to do 7 and 7. I mean, it's just too risky for the tibia. So that's another reason.
Where is this 10 centimeter limit coming from? I don't know of a quadrilateral constraint without re-break. Right?
Oh, without re-break? What were the 10?
I mean, with re-break, that constraint is gone. Is he's saying like all at once? All at once. One distraction phase?
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah. And that's because of surgeon experience, because I wouldn't even know that. They just done enough that they feel like because of the crossing of the knee joint, the gastroc and the hamstring, you get like that knee contraction and whatnot. So
sure.
M. Carter. Allergy season, I'm telling you guys, and my Zyrtec. After removing the nail, do you need to do rehab all over again, or is it just a minor surgery? Minor surgery, like for example, I went down to Florida, Paley Institute, Rich Rotella got his nails out. Was hurting for a few days. It's painful because you get, they go back in, they pull it out. It's nowhere near. You can walk same day. Some Tylenol, some rest, putting your feet up, chilling for a day or two, you're good to go. You can't do anything hard impact or like aggressive out there, like running agility drills or anything like that for about 6 weeks till like the bone holes fill back in. But after that, it's all out. You can do what you want. So
the most invasive thing is the actual incision being cut open again,
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So you can't shower for a week, which is lovely.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think they limited it to like a couple. Well, for him, they said we did it on, what day was the surgery? I think it was a Friday. No, you're right. It was Tuesday and then that following Monday. So it was about 6 days. Yep, you got it.
You gotta wait for your gauzes to dry out. Because for me, I had my on the left. Hey, Real, how are you?
Hey, guys.
My stitches on the left, one of them got caught in the skin and didn't biodegrade kind of as quickly as the others. So I had to wait even longer before soaking. So it was almost a week and a half before I could shower. And I was like, it's not so much about showering. I need to get back in the pool because I'm dying here.
I also like when they put the Tegaderm on there because it's like that waterproof kind of bandage covering that's like that tape. And you can do like warm rinses. Like you're not gonna be showering with like lots of
Yeah.
scrubbies and like soap and stuff. But like if you do a warm rinse, it's just kind of waterproof right off, so it's not too bad. So
I mean, you could do like how some people do with casts and whatnot. You could just put like plastic around it.
I actually did that when I had my first broken leg, the first tibia. I put like this waterproof thing, and it worked. But you gotta make sure that seal at the top of your leg is really waterproof.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, it'll be super itchy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did that exactly with the cast.
Did you do that with the cast?
Exactly, big garbage bag, and you just what you do is you slide it up. You just punch a hole just big enough to bring it up. You like keep some like so it's tight still stuck, and then you just flip it back. Once it's all the way up, you flip it back down. You just turn it inside out so it just fits nice. You don't oversize it.
That's awesome. I mean, because nothing's like a warm shower after like any type of the procedures, removal or like insertion of the nail. It's just
necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, exactly right. Cyborg invention. Get your shower cover right now. So click link in the description. All right, what we got here? Fear God. Well, if he does get 10 centimeters, then you will get a tight ballerina feet. So yeah, I think if he's doing it over 2 surgeries and he has a good surgeon, they're going to probably watch out for that type of thing. But if he did it all in one tibia, absolutely. Somebody actually emailed me or messaged me. I forgot where I saw it today. It said 10 centimeters on the tibia. I said, I suggest you rethink this. I don't want you to like not be able to walk again. It's going to be very, very bad. So yeah.
What surgeon would even allow that? Like Dr. Lee was probably the best tibia surgeon objectively in the world. He gets the best results that I've seen. 7 is probably the absolute limit he'll let you, and that's tibias only, not quadrilateral. So.
Absolutely. I think it's the risky thing. Let's have a quick. Yeah, I got a lot of people sending me WhatsApp messages. I connected it to my computer now. It's like popping up there. All right, we got Alex Wong. Should I schedule my pmax surgery now or wait until it's official word that it's coming back? Any guesses on when it should be coming back? So what I heard, Alex, is that the company is looking at a 3 to 4 week supply hold. Will it release again? I'm not exactly sure. I think that we are to hear something probably closer to the end of this month. So in the next couple of weeks, we should know more. But I think that we got some noise in the office over here. But I think that you can schedule your pmax surgery, but then the surgeon's probably not going to give you any like go ahead until they know that they're resuming surgeries again with the pmax nail. So that's just my advice. Let's see here. We're going to see if we can. Is it precise? Okay, we already answered that. Okay, so all right. So I think we got to the bottom here. So Real, oh wait, here's one for Real. We can do this. Oh wait. Okay. Topage saying Alex. Oh, he's talking to Alex. Okay, gotcha. Alexi, so is 8.5 centimeters on the femurs all right or risky? Is 8 centimeters standard on the femurs? So Real, you've done 8 centimeters on the femurs.
Oh yeah. The femurs. Oh my God, I would have pushed so much more if that nail had more. I was not ready to stop it anytime soon, man. I know for sure. Like for me, if I had the 10s, I would have pushed the 10 for sure.
Wow.
But the 8 was perfect, to be honest. Like it's very easy, like much easier to recover. I think you're at the 8. You're kind of like you're at that threshold where it's like complication can start after that. Recovery is gonna be longer, headaches. A lot more. Because I see like just my recovery on 8 centimeters, how much it was, and like today or yesterday, I was walking into the mall, and man, I could power walk. Like I was like passing people in the wall. Like, get out of my way, I'm coming. And I've never felt like that before. I could walk, but I didn't have the strength to like push. And now I have it. So 8 centimeters is, I think it's a safe way to go for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, and a lot of the devices that they might get it done with actually max out at 8. I think that the Fitbone does, the Precise does. I think new nails are going to do that. I think the mechanical nails, they have a little bit more leeway with that. But yeah, you really can't go past 8 on some of them. So
yeah, of course you want more. Like I said before, I just feel like if you do such a surgery, like you could break those legs and you're gonna be, like out of commission, and if you want drastic changes, like you want to be 6 foot tall when you're done with this, so it just, it's not realistic. So it's like, you're going to have to do that 3-4 times for me to get it there. But it's very, like if you don't think of how tall you are, but just how it feels, then it's like it's awesome. You know, like it's the feeling of being that height. It's not so much the number anymore, because you're not considered, you know, at that height now. You're not, like I said before, you don't feel like short. Even if you're talking to a guy that's 5'10", is 6 foot tall, he's not towering over you now. You know, like you need somebody that's 6'4" to be, you know, like, holy fuck, this guy's tall. But at 6 feet, it's not a big difference anymore.
You bring up a really good point, Real, but I want to ask you this, because I think I had a consultation, I think it was early this week, and somebody said, yeah, I'm going from 5'3", and even though I would only lengthen 3 inches or whatever, I'm only going to get to 5'6". I'll still be short, so I need to go back for more. But I told him, I said, I still recommend you do one at a time, you know, because you can maximize it, recover, enjoy that height, you know, kind of get to feel out that height, and then see what it's like, because you might not want to go back, even though you're only 5'6". It's a big world of difference for you, right? And I think that even though you are going back, and like there's other people who want to go back, but I was like, you don't know that for sure. It's like, get one, take a big bite of cake, see if you want more, you know, if you want the ice cream, right? Like, what would you say about that?
It's exactly like, if, like, for me, oh my God, it's like, I think I'm just being greedy to go get the other one. Like, I'm just want that extra. I could totally live with this. Like, I don't have the same like complex that I did before. Like, it doesn't bother me anymore. My height does not bother me anymore. So now, to be honest, if I'm doing it again, I would say it's more of, you know, I just want it. Like, I don't need it like I did before in my head, because I don't get bothered anymore. Nobody tells me I'm short. I don't get comments like that anymore. So so the world is a lot much safer with me this tall, you know.
It's a lot. I love it. So, that's a fantastic answer. Yeah, I felt that was the case, because it's like, you know, I was talking to Rich. We had some meetings this week about, you know, the documentary and whatnot, and he's like, I'm not going back. I'm happy with my height, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know, but you went from 5'5" to 5'8", you know, and he's like, I don't care. I didn't ask to be tall. I asked to be average. And, you know, that's what, you know, really kind of echoed in my head. I was like, wow, that's a powerful statement. It's like, I think people don't realize that when you get the surgery done, it's what's going to change internally. And people are like, well, yeah, but the world, you know, I understand. I think even NailedLegs brought this up. It's like, we do things for other people, and it's true, but it's like 3 inches is doing a lot. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like, hey, I'm just going up an inch or something like that. If you do 3 or even 2 is a lot. But you're going to notice a lot up here, and it turns off that switch where you're thinking about it. And I think
it's so weird.
You might even feel taller than the amount of inches that you get. So if it's 2 inches, it actually feels more. Like, for example, I got 1.5 inches for my tibia lengthening, and I felt like I was like 3 inches taller. I was like, oh man, I'm tall now. 1.5 inches is nothing, next to nothing, you know? So
yeah. No, it is like when I put on like a work boots, oh my God. And I see somebody that's like not in their work boots. I'm like, I feel like I'm a giant now. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, definitely. It's like when I hit, like, I'm not 5'8" yet, like, but I'm still like extremely happy with my height, like very happy. Like, if I didn't have a chance to do it again, I'd be okay with it. Like, no problem. Be okay. I would not, you know, it's not stopping me from sleeping, but I want to be able to, like, this recovery, the femurs, I want to be like 100%. Like, I know I'm getting there now. I'm really happy, like, where I'm at now. And then before I hit tibias, because when I do my tibias, I want to be able to, like, really work hard on them too. You know, you don't want to, like, be half, you know, like half, like 3/4 way of your recovery at being back to normal at 100%. Then you start doing tibias again, and then you don't know where, if you have a limp, if you have something wrong, it's like, okay, where's the issue now? Is it my tibias? Is it my femurs that did this? Or, you know, where's the issue? Right. This way, I know I'm focusing on tibias that I did, and you know, those muscles. And then next time when I do it, I'm gonna focus on my tibias. You know, and that will be my focus. So I just want to be 100%, like a machine when I get to my tibias.
That's awesome. See, he's fully recovering before he goes back in for round 2. I like that. I like that approach a lot for quad lengthening, and that's what NailedLegs is going to do. He's going to do them. Oh, that's right. That's the book you recommended to me. So, guys, Socrates, tell us what you're holding in your hand.
So this book, I wanted to mention it. It was published in 1982. It's a psychological study by the University of Minnesota professor John Gillis. So 1982 is before Paley started doing stature lengthening. Right,
Wow.
this is old. Okay, so I don't know if this holds up till today. It discusses just overall societal pressures in the U.S. About height, too tall, too small. Like, what else is going to talk about? And there's this one very telling image here for men. I don't know if you can see it well.
Yeah.
And it says the University of Minnesota student body. So young men, late teens, early 20s. You can see that men who are shorter than 5'5", I think, or 5'4",
5'4", yeah.
they're very disappointed in their self-image because of height. 5'8", they're getting better. 6 foot, they're on cloud 9. 6'4", they're back to disappointment because they're too tall. Right?
Wow.
I don't expect this too far off because human society doesn't change that much in 50 years. Sure, we have cell phones and self-driving cars and whatnot now, but we're still the same, right? Our grandparents would not have different motivations for mate seeking, work status seeking, friends, like the social stuff that height impacts than we do. So it's a very interesting study. I would pay good money to see this updated, modernized, because it's been 50 years.
Right.
But yeah, it's an excellent read, very well written. I think I found it on Amazon for like $10. Well worth it. So
that's incredible. Thanks so much for sharing that. You guys want to check that out? That's called Too Tall, Too Small.
Too Tall, Too Small.
All right. So
Gillis, the University of Minnesota.
I remember you sent me that link, and I looked at it briefly. Then I don't know, craziness took over again. But I got to look back at that. And there's probably some really good, things I could kind of make videos out of that. And I think that really kind of still exists today because when you talk to people who are below 6 foot, they may occasionally, like maybe not all the time, but they may say something about their height, or it might come up, and they're maybe not affected about their height enough to go get cosmetic limb lengthening done. But people who are 6 foot, you don't really hear them say anything about their height. But then people who are 6'4", they say, I'm tall. Like I hear that a lot. Like I'm a tall guy. And that's kind of, matching up with what you just said with that image, that figure there. And it's so cool because
he actually brings up not tall men, but top 5-10% height women, girls who were still in puberty. They were getting stature shrinking. Not surgeries, but hormonal treatments, right? That just like I know my personal daughter wouldn't, like, it would be very unlikely for her to deal with that. But it would break my heart to see, a cousin or a neighbor or a friend's child going through that, because it's just like, wow. But a woman who's too tall probably has just as much, if not more, issues being accepted by society than a man who's too short.
That's a really great statement. And I mean, as I was going through my YouTube comments in the past couple months, I remember seeing there was maybe 1 or 2 female people who were viewers or people who commented, and they said, I'm a lady, and I'm 6. There was one who said I'm 6'1" and I want to get shorter, and there was one who was 5'10", just like you said, and said I want to get limb shortening. What do you have any information on that? I said, you're on the wrong channel, sweetheart. But but no, I said that it's the same thing. The surgeon can do the same thing. It's just it's a different procedure. But it just goes to show that you're right. Like for females, it's a gender difference. And I like that book a lot, that it actually has the different genders in there as well. That's really cool.
It's 200 pages. It's a lot, chock full of some fantastic stuff.
That's awesome. Would you say NailedLegs?
If I may, I'd like to talk a little bit about like the psychological side of that. On the forum, a lot of people talk about things like that. I think, as you guys are probably already familiar with, the halo effect, and then there's also the reverse of that being the horns effect. Height. So, but height, fits on basically a bell curve where, the majority of people are going to be around, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", overwhelming majority, speaking about the United States, because, I'm from the United States, majority of men are going to be around that height. The further you go away from it, the less, percentage of men are going to be in it. For example, a man that is 5'6" is in their height percentile. They're in the 15th height percentile. So out of a room of 100 men, they're only taller than about 15 of those men. Versus if you're 5'10", you're taller than about 50 of those men. So a lot of it fits on the bell curve, where the more you go, especially if you're going from like 5'5" to 5'6" and you're going up, your percentile score is going to shoot up like rapidly, like it's a steep climb. But then once you get to about that 5'9", 5'10" mark, then it starts to kind of flatline a little bit, where your percentile score isn't going to just shoot up all of a sudden, because again, height is on a bell curve. Yeah. And then, of course, in the reverse, once you go on like the real far end of the spectrum, once you get like past, say, 6'4", then it's like you're shooting past, because there's so few men that are like reaching those heights and whatnot. So it kind of works on like both ends of the spectrum. And I think the big thing psychologically is you don't have to be first in life. You just can't be last. And I think height is a really big part of that. You don't have to be the tallest guy. You really don't. You just don't want to be the shortest guy. And so that's why, and maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I honestly think, the guys that are 5'5", and around that height, 5'6", around that height, I think they probably have the most to gain from this procedure, because their percentile score is just going to shoot up like crazy. And so I think the benefits for them are going to be huge, as opposed to a man that say he's already 5'10", he's already middle of the pack. He doesn't have much to gain here. And say he wants to go to 6 foot, you're not going to really gain that much, because you're already normal. In society's eyes, you're already normal. So you're not really going to gain a whole lot there.
Absolutely. I'm so glad. I had a feeling this is where you were going with that. And I think this comes from a lot of, I actually kind of have my own like anecdotal data on this from patients that have contacted me. And I noticed that those who go from 5 foot, like you said, 5'4", 5'5" to 5'7", 5'8", or even 5'9" from 5'6", if they're going the full 3 inches on their femurs, are most happy. They see the biggest impact in their life, and they see the least amount of comments coming back at them about, short jokes or whatnot. And Real is probably a living example of that for sure. Rich Rotella as well. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Real.
I'm right in that zone. It's exactly what I said before. I that's exactly what I hit. And if I was like, I know like I'm at 5'7" something, and if I would have hit the 5'8", there's no way I'd be going back for surgery. No way. I'd be like, I would be there definitely, because it's exactly like you said, because now I stand in the elevator, I look around me, and I'm right there with everybody. Like there's shorter ones, and then I'm right beside, and if there's one that's taller, he's 1 inch taller than me. That makes no difference. But it's exactly, because I was under 5'5" now, because obviously I got older and I shrunk, so I started to look like a strumpf. So so now if I was 5'5" when I 5'5" and a half like I used to be, I would be at 5'8" today. But anyways, no, it's true. That's exact the magic number now is where I am right now. It's mind blowing that magic curve. Yeah,
and so cool, because like most guys here, like Socrates, he started at 5'6". Real started, like you said, like just about, because you said you shrunk, just under 5'5". You guys are going to see a huge upswing, like what NailedLegs was just saying, from the surgery if you get the full length.
Yes.
And I think that's just it confirms pretty much what I have seen over the 4 years that I've been doing this. So it's so cool to thank you, NailedLegs. That was really cool. We got Aiden on the show. What's up, Aiden?
Hey, Victor, what's up?
Hey, man, how you doing?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. How's it going?
Good, man. I saw Real there, so I have to step in and say hi.
Hey, brother.
He loves you. He's a big fan of yours. We've done a consultation in the past, so he's a big fan of yours.
Nice.
That's right, man. I've seen your story all the way from the beginning, man. I've been learning a lot from you guys.
Oh, yeah? That's awesome. That's awesome. I always say it's the unknown that's scary about this stuff. So the more people, tell us, educate us, the better it is, I found Victor like 2 days before surgery, I think. So I didn't get much chance to get as much as I wanted.
Aiden, are you the same Aiden who was in the comments section, or is that just a coincidence?
Yeah, no, that's me. Yeah. Okay.
So you're right there. You're 5'5", 5'6", right? You're
actually.
What is your goal?
I'm 5'3", actually. Yeah. So I was
3.
Yeah, listening to what you guys were saying right now, and it is I think it's the same for everybody. Just when you go to that next level, it's a whole different world from before. You know, even though I'm gonna be only 5'6", but my son is 5'6", and it's a big difference. You know.
Yes.
So potentially, I'll be looking forward to doing tibias as well later on. You know, a year and a half after I'm done. But to go for that 5'8", which is Real was saying, that's a perfect, you know, height right there.
Definitely it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, I think that's also to NailedLegs' point. I think that like after you get to the point of 5'9" or 5'10" and you get this done, there's nothing wrong with it. Again, I don't judge anybody. I just think that like it does bode more of that cosmetic vibe versus like stature lengthening. And you remember, I kind of make that differentiation. They're the same synonymous term, but it might have different connotations to different surgeons and different people in the world when we consider the social stigma about this procedure, because of the fact that stature lengthening is like, hey, we're just trying to boost our stature to fit in with everybody. Whereas cosmetic lengthening, it's kind of like, hey, I'm doing this because I can, I have the money, the resources, and I just want to be taller. And, you know, like Real said earlier, it's like greed, you know, like height greed and just going back. And you can do that. No, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that it's kind of like that line in the sand. It's like once you hit that point, that height where it's like, you're not going to necessarily be, you know, ridiculed for your height, and you do this procedure, it's kind of taking on more of that cosmetic tone, if you will. So,
may I add on to it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
So I just want to add a little bit more to that. On the reverse, you know, I think if you're like too, and you know, maybe I shouldn't say this, it might be a little bit controversial, but I think if you're too short, you may not see much benefit. I think, for example, if you are 5 foot flat, you are just 5 foot tall, and you go from 5 foot tall to 5'3", you're going from less than a single, you know, less than 1%, right? So in a room of 100 men, you're the shortest man there. If you go to 5'3", your percentile score would be you'd be third percentile. So now instead of shorter than every man, you're shorter than about 2 men. But now let's say you go from 5'3" to 5'6", and I have like the calculator pulled up on another screen here. So if you go from 5'3" to about 5'6", if I can find it, you're going up from about the, again, 3 to now 15. So that's the difference of 3 people compared to about the difference of 12 people. So like, you know, percentage wise, that jump is huge. And then, you know, because it's the bell curve, right? Once you kind of get up, okay, now say you're starting at 5'5" and you go up 3 inches. Now, rather than being, you know, shorter than, you know, say 90 people in a room out of 100, you're now, you know, going from 5'5" to 5'8". I could find it here. I apologize. You're now in the 36th percentile. So your percentile score just went up by 26.
Yeah.
So like the jump is huge, but like at a certain point, it may not be worth it if say you were like 5 foot flat, because your percentile, you're still so low on the score. And maybe I shouldn't talk about that kind of stuff because it's a little bit controversial, but
no, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I think it caters to what Socrates was saying earlier. Like, I think it almost has it impacts different genders, right? Like, for example, like I said, 2 weeks ago, I consulted with a female who said she was 4'10", and she's only going to go for 5'1", right? But for her, it's going to be a world of difference because she is a female, and there's guys who are 6 foot. They'll date girls who are 5'1", 5'3", and they're cool with it. In fact, they actually sometimes like that difference. But I think, you know, when you take guys, it's like you could say it's, you know, like not going to make a huge difference, but I think that there's something different, and maybe socially, to people who are taller looking down, it will make a whole difference to them. But to the person who gets this done, and I can't say it, you know, like a whole lot because I got 1.5 inches, but Real said it. It's like, you know, he went up full 3 inches. And Richard Teller, he told me the same thing. It's like, it's a world of difference, right, Real? And I think that no matter how much height you gain, but your world has just flipped. It's like you are now taller, and it's like you're 3 inches taller. Even if the person's still tall to you, you can still go back for more if you wanted to. But I think the fact of the matter is that the world can look different through your eyes. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. I mean, sure, society's going to judge us. We do this, you know, we are social creatures, and we do this a lot for people. But at the same time, it's going to be what you go home with at the end of the day, how you perceive yourself. I mean, height dysphoria is you being unhappy with your own height. Body dysmorphia, that's a completely different, segment of stuff. That's like you doing body altercations and turning into a Lego man, but that's not what we're talking about here. But the point is that, that made my point. That's good. Okay.
It was saying, like, if you're 5 foot, and it'll make a big difference if a guy goes to 5'6" or 5'5", because let's say I was when I was almost 5'6", I didn't get the same comment as I did when I was down to like almost under 5'5". It was a big difference.
Mhm.
And also because the woman average height is shorter, it's 5'2", 5'3", 5'4". So now if a guy that's 5 foot managed to get to 5'6", he's dating a girl that's 5'4", he's going to feel a lot more comfortable at the wedding when she's wearing her heels, and he's not, like it's going to be like a lot more comfortable. For sure, it's going to change his life. Definitely.
Yeah.
A guy that's 5 foot goes to 5'3", 5'6", it's going to change his life no matter what. Just to pick up his bowl in the microwave, it's going to change everything. Like the aspect, like the other day I opened the microwave, I could see on top of the shelf in the microwave. I'm like, what the hell? I can see inside the microwave. So yeah, it's a difference.
5 years ago, I was dating a girl who was 5'8", and she was like very pretty, very fashionable, everything. And then things started getting serious, and she was like, I don't know how I feel about never wearing heels again. And I was like, do what you got to do, right? Right. But and at that time, I had been wearing shoe lifts or platform shoes for some time already, and I was comfortable with them and whatnot. You cannot run a marathon in them. You can't
Can't
they're
swim.
not for everyday usage. Even if you go, let's say you're a 5 foot tall man, and you go to 5'3" femurs, and then you go to 5'5" tibias, which, in a cruel irony, the shorter you are, the bigger percentage each lengthening is. So the harder it is to get as much growth. So like a 6 foot tall guy can lengthen more than a 5'6" guy, but it is what it is. But let's say you get 5 inches, healthy, safe, you pace yourself. You can then wear platform shoes as needed to get to that extra 2 or 3 inches if you're going on job interviews, or if you're like giving a presentation in person on a stage or something. So then you go from 5 foot to 5'7" or 5'8". It's a world of difference. It's a massive percent change. So I'm not saying like you have to, but if you do, you will feel it, and it will impact your life. Perhaps not, dramatically, but psychologically, it'll be.
You nailed it right there. You nailed it right there psychologically. And I love what NailedLegs said earlier about the numbers and the statistics and stuff. And that does matter, when you think about like the general like population. But I think psychologically and, to somebody's individual life, it's like, what can this procedure do? And I think that's kind of like the two stories, right? We have Real and we have NailedLegs, and then Socrates kind of blended the two right there. But it's like people who get the surgery done and they go up, it's a world of difference to get the height to themselves. But then if they're viewed in like a room of a lot of people, sure, they're still going to be short, but like they're not as short. They still have an increase. I love that. This is a really, really good discussion. And now we have everybody joining now. We're at the 1 hour and 38-minute mark.
I don't know how true this is in the US, but I know in Israel and certain other countries, like if you're a man below a certain height, they'll just pay. The government will just pay for your stature length.
Wow.
It's outright, right? So they want you to go from 5'2" to 5'4" or 5'5", right? Because it's not the same. You're not being in the 1-2 percentile for height. It's crippling.
What's that height cutoff? What's that threshold?
I want to say it's 162 centimeters, 163.
Okay.
Like it's real. I don't know how exact, if it's a gradient. Like if you're 163.5, will they pay 85%? I don't know.
That's interesting. That's really were they doing that in Israel?
Israel for sure, and I've heard of other places, but I don't have firsthand confirmation, so I don't want to misspeak.
Imagine if they adopt that worldwide. Like That would be like, yeah, they're like the government with all the money that they waste on stupid stuff. What if they started paying for stuff, with good surgeons, we would have like this huge shift, like, yes, the cyborgs, that'd be awesome. I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Socrates. And maybe I can start making some calls and see what we can do. Some
we have more pediatricians, I should say, trained to focus on hormone management. If the pituitary gland is underexpressing HGH, like, my brother is 6 inches taller than me. Okay, wow. That's not supposed to happen, right? At least not in my mind. We're only 1 year apart, and it's not fair.
If they caught it early enough, and I think that's where the first checkpoint is. It's like, make sure like the hormones are regulated properly, and parents don't know enough. I've consulted with parents too, and for example, her son is, I think, 5'6". He's a really good soccer player, and he's getting all the short jokes on his high school soccer team because he's an amazing player. In fact, he's getting scouted by like some college teams and whatnot, but then his friends and people are making fun of him. Even other parents are saying stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, your son's so short and blah 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 blah. But it's like, I don't know. I agree with you, Socrates. It just makes so much sense to kind of like just do it for yourself at the end of the day. But like NailedLegs is going to say, we don't do anything for ourselves. So I love it. This is what the discussion's all about. This is what it's all about here. All right, let's see, guys. So we got some other people who joined the show. We got Juke, LM, and Sparrow. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good. So we'll run it for a little bit longer because I want to kind of go around and make sure everybody talks here. So Juke, are you a prospective patient, current patient, or just kind of interested in the procedure?
So I actually have my procedure scheduled for the March 29th. I've had it for a while, and the reason I wanted to come on here, I wanted to like ask the current patients if they were in my position and they had to wait for the precise max now, because I don't know if you just saw Paley's video, but he just released one on Instagram saying it's probably not going to be available by the end of this month. Like how grueling was that weight bearing for you during the lengthening phase? And if you were in my position, would you wait for the precise max? Or because I've already flown out. I'm doing it at the HSS. So I've already flown out to New York. I've just done my pre-ups on Tuesday. So, I'm ready to do this. I just wanted to get you guys' opinions on that.
So he released a new video today?
Yeah, it was like 30 minutes ago.
Oh, see, we've been on here for longer than that. I didn't see it. So I'll try to pull it up maybe. What's it on his, you said Instagram?
Yeah, the Paley Institute.
Okay, I'll pull it up. But yeah, go ahead and ask your question to us. Real did his surgery, and then obviously I think somebody else did their surgery on here. But go ahead.
So obviously, like in terms of like my life, like I know I have to make the decision for myself, but purely in terms of like if you could walk, and like the amount of time you'd have to wait. Like obviously, like if I gotta wait 3 months for the precise max to come out, I'd already be consolidated by then. So like, what's like that time frame you would wait, and if you would?
So if I was scheduled and set to go, and this would have happened to me, like the max is gone and I have to go to precise, I would just go. I would take the precise and 2.0 and I would get it done. I would not stop. Either way, they're going to put you on crutches. And depending, I mean, I'm not too sure, like what you do for a living, you'll be able to go still work in an office and do, your stuff. I can't see myself doing much more on the full max as a precise. I know, like I know how solid they are and how like the weakness and everything else, but I would definitely like if it comes to when I do my tibias and the max is out, I'm still going to do it with the precise. Like I'm not going to stop. And especially if you got your whole life is set up, you're already flying in there, you're ready, mentally ready. And like you say, you wait 3 months, you'll be done lengthening, especially if you're young, you'll be lengthening at 1 millimeter a day. You'll be flying through this and you'll be ready by the time the max nail comes out, you'll be done. So I would not stop.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm 22 and I'm like, basically I'm a student. So last semester I've prepared like the whole thing. I'm not really have much of a workload this semester. So I'm ready to go.
How much do you weigh?
140, 142.
Yeah, I would not wait. Like it won't make a difference for you. I can't see the max or the precise 2 being that much of a difference. They're still going to tell you to walk with either 2 canes or 2 crutches. They're not going to let you walk. Because I've seen there's some of their stuff. But either way, you'll be more than okay with the precise.
All right, thank you so much.
So I just saw the video here. I'm gonna play it because I actually just pulled it up here on the Instagram here. So can you guys see this? Socrates, can you see it? Okay, good. So let's just play this. Let me just.
There, welcome back. I wanted to give everyone an update on our initial experience with the Precise Max nail. So, you know, we implanted them, I think it's about 2 weeks now. And for the first week, patients don't lengthen. And then they start lengthening at 1 millimeter a day during the second week. So 4 of our patients have been successfully lengthening for the last week. They all came into the office this past Monday, and good news is they're lengthening. They're separating exactly as planned. Patients are walking full weight bearing. Patients are tolerating this well. I mean, they're sore. In the first 3 weeks after this surgery, most patients are sore, but they're normally sore, just like they would have been after Precise 2. But they're able to weight bear more than the Precise 2 patients. So far, it's early, everything's going well. We're really happy with this. Now, for the second part of this, I wanted to give you an update on what's happening out there with the supply issue. As you know, we had to stop inserting nails because of a limited supply. So we had enough for that first week, and we have been limited, as have all the other doctors, in implanting additional nails. The reason is a limited supply, and as of yet, we don't know when that additional supply will become available. I'd hoped it would be at the end of this month, but right now it is not looking likely. I'm going to be updating on this channel every single week. I just got off the phone with the company in order to get this update, so I can give you up to the date news, and news that you can rely on. So please stay tuned. The company is working diligently to get you the Precise Max nail, which seems to be working fantastic, but to get it so that we have enough supply so that it'll be available to all the doctors who it's been released to and for their patients. So be patient with us and with the process. It is coming, and it is exciting, and it's working. Thank you.
So you guys saw that. So I guess that's the latest update. I guess that's what I was waiting for him to come on here and do. But okay. So I guess what do we think about that? So they do think it's a supply issue. I don't know.
They're saying it won't be available this month.
This month,
yeah. It's not clear when in next month. If in next month it'll be available. Juke, full steam ahead. Rosbrook 2.2, you'll be fine. At your weight, and you're probably going to lose some weight during lengthening, you'll be fine. If you were a fat butt like me at 205, 210 pounds, I would say, give yourself a month, but you're fine.
I'm actually going with Dr. Reef. But
okay.
Nice.
Okay. So HSS, you're golden.
Yeah.
If you were going to some like
trained
fly by night, I would be like, okay, you might want to take a step back and consult with someone else to get their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But Rosbrook is a top tier. He's like in everybody's top 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Reef is his protege. He's top 10, no doubt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you're good, Juke. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. All right, cool. So we got some news on that. I didn't even know that dropped. That dropped 30 minutes ago. So that's cool. Maybe that's why he's doing it on his Instagram now. It's not coming on here anymore. No, essentially. All right. So where were we? We had Sparrow, LMs join the show. Do you guys have anything you want to say, or do you want to just kind of crank through these last questions? What do you want to do? Sparrow, welcome back. Uh-oh. Can't hear you, Sparrow. Looks like he's unmuted. LM?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. I was just gonna say, what's funny is I'm also 5'4", and I have 2 friends. One of my friends is 6 foot, the other friend's 6'4", and I was down in the basement. Real might like this as well, but I was down in the basement. They're doing a renovation in the basement, and I stood on 2 2x4s that were stacked on top of each other, which is about 3 inches. And I was standing there with them, and I I couldn't believe the difference just going from 5'4" to about 5'7". I felt
yeah.
like I was their height. Like it was such a massive difference. So I think like it's what we were talking about earlier about this bell curve. It's like going from 5'4" to 5'7" is unbelievable difference to somebody that's 5'4".
Exactly what I said. It's unreal because I was 5'4", 5'8". That's what I was. So I'm just under 5'8". Now that's I was 5'4" at 5 feet, 4 inches and 5'8", and then now I'm just under the 5'8" mark, and it's a world of difference. Like it's like that. It's almost a magic number. And I said that from day one. I was like, this feels like that 5'8" mark is like the magic number right there. There's no way if I was 5'8", I would have even thought of doing this surgery. Never in hell. Never. Like I wouldn't even have looked it up, you know. But I did the same thing. I was standing on a case of Red Bulls. You know, Red Bulls are 4 inch tall, so then I'd step down on something else shorter. Look in the mirror, I'm like, like this is pretty good.
So true. That's so true. That's awesome. No, I think that's one cool thing. I always tell people either stand on some block or something like that, or the side of the street, the curb. You can kind of see what the world might be like at your new height. So, but I feel like standing on something inside is different than standing on something outside. Outside, it seems like you barely go up, but then inside, it's like, oh yeah, I noticed that change. It's weird, but it's very cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Real? It's something.
Oh yeah, for sure. The first time I looked out my patio door and I lift my arm and I grab the top of the casing of my trims. I'm like, what the fuck? I can reach the top of my doors. And I go to close the curtain, like the blinds, and I grab the rod. I'm like, what the hell, man? I can grab the rod? Like, I'm like, this is insane. You know, it's like it makes a big difference. And sometimes, like still the other day, exactly what I said. I look in the microwave, I'm like, what? I can see inside the microwave? I was like, and I stopped growing a few months ago. It's not like I'm still growing, but you still recognize some spots. You're like, wow, it's like this is so different.
You're not getting lengthening growth spurt?
No, I don't think so. I'm still fucking growing. I don't know.
I just did some quick math, and to go from 5'4" to 5'7", that's a 5% increase. Okay. So just imagine if you're sitting there, you just get a 5% increase in your salary. Okay.
Yeah.
5% increase in the size of your house. 5% increase in how fast you can run, or like anything that matters to you. 5% is not a small percentage. 5% increase in your savings. 5% increase in, you know, how good your eyesight is. 5% is sizable and for sure worth it from 5'4" to 5'7" in the United States.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So we got a few more questions here. We're going to run through these. I'll try to break our remark. Yeah, go ahead, NailedLegs.
Victor, you brought up briefly there talking about body dysmorphia, or the technical term is body dysmorphic disorder.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
So according to the DSM-5, which is basically like the psychology Bible for you guys that are unaware, this is how they basically determine and diagnose all sort of mental illness, you know, anywhere on the spectrum. May it be schizophrenia, may it be, you know, of course, body dysmorphic disorder. All of that is in this base DSM-5. So the DSM-5 defines body dysmorphic disorder as a preoccupation with one or more perceived defects or flaws in physical appearance that are not observable or appear slight to others. So the key being, and there's other things that it talks about too, but the key being, you believe there's something wrong with you, but there's nothing. It's not observable, or if it is, it's slight to others. So one of the things that may fall under, you know, that would be, you know, things such as, you know, anorexia, where you may believe that there's something wrong with you. You may believe that you are fat, but you're not fat. You are perfectly healthy weight. Height does not go under, and this is my opinion, height does not qualify as body dysmorphic disorder. Height, depending on how short you are, is an objective flaw, as opposed to, say, anorexia, which is entirely subjective. Subjective meaning it's in your mind. Objective meaning it's you know, observable. Mm-hmm. So with height, there are objective flaws with being a short man. There is financial flaws. On average, short men get paid less. Yep. There is romantic flaws. On average, short men are less desired by women. There is even just social flaws where, on average, men are seen as less competent. Short men are seen as less competent for the same role or for the same job, having nothing to do with their skill, just their height. So there are observable, objective flaws to being short. One of the criticisms of people complaining about their height is, oh, well, just be confident, just be yourself. The problem is, this has nothing to do with anything in the mind. A therapist is basically a doctor of the mind, whereas an orthopedic surgeon is a doctor of the body. The issue has nothing to do with something in your mind. It has to do with your body. Getting therapy will not fix your height dysphoria, which basically just means you don't like your height. It will not fix that. All therapy will do for you is give different coping mechanisms. Perhaps your therapist will give you different goals or objectives to keep you preoccupied rather than thinking about your height so much. But the reality is, no matter how much therapy you get, you're not going to increase your dating prospects. No matter how much therapy you get, you will not increase your perceived competence by other people. As a matter of fact, if you wanted that to happen, they are the ones that need the therapy, not you. Okay.
Yes,
and
that's true.
Promotions at work. Again, your boss needs to get therapy, not you. You're not the one that needs it. It's other people. So therapy will not help you. The only thing that will help you is an orthopedic surgeon. He's the only one who can cure your height dysphoria, as this is not a body dysmorphic disorder. There is objective flaws to this. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
I love that. Great preaching there, NailedLegs. I think, in fact, we got to give him a clap on that. No, I'm just kidding. I think that's why they have screening for this procedure, right? Because I think that it can fall into body dysmorphia if the person's doing it for the wrong reasons, or they're saying, oh, I just want to get taller, where let's say that they are 6'1" and they just want to do it for the heck of it, or whatever. It's a messy subject, and I agree with you. Height is a very objective trait, right? At least when we look at it socially and publicly in the population, general population. However, there are patients who get this done like, oh, my proportions look weird, right? Well, who do they look weird to? You. So that does kind of like drift under that body dysmorphic issue. And I think that there's a lot of surgeons that used to have psychiatrists in place. And those are the people who pretty much, I think that's who wrote the DSM-5. But anyway, they would screen patients before they get this surgery done to make sure that they don't have body dysmorphia, because it becomes very dangerous. I know a patient who has severe complications, episode 72. He was on here before, and he knows that he has done some other lengthenings, and he was going to come back on for another complications talk. And he did not just leg lengthening, but there were other lengthenings that he did. And I think he needs to come back. He actually wants to warn you guys, he did clavicle lengthening, right? And he had complications with that as well. And I think that has fallen under the body dysmorphic disorder. When you're just doing cosmetic limb lengthening for your height because it's been bothering you, whatever reason you're doing it for, if it's just for that, it's height dysphoria. Okay. But the surgeon has to be good enough to understand that and not be a patient pleaser. It gets really messy, NailedLegs, but I love what you said. And I agree with you. It's an objective trait, but you got to really dig deep on the prospective patient's intentions of why they're doing it, and screen them almost several layers, because they can kind of say something and mean something else. And Socrates, you're shaking your head. Do you agree with that? You agree? I thought they were going to say something, but okay. Yeah. So, but I love that. I love that point. It's really good.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Who's that? I thought that was NailedLegs. Sparrow?
Yeah, it was, I don't know. This software is weird. But yeah, just to say something, I am actually working with a therapist right now. And just to say something about that stuff, I have a lot of other issues, obviously, which are a priority than my height. But I brought it up in conversation, and obviously this is a good therapist, so they didn't just outright laugh at me, which might happen to people, which causes them even more, trauma with stuff like this. So I'm lucky in that regard. But just what I wanted to say was, even sometimes therapists fail to understand truly, even after you explain to them. how much it affects you. And at the end of the day, you're doing like, this is purely how you feel after the surgery, right? If you feel excellent after the surgery, like, and you are a confident person, like I've always been confident, and I'm like 5'6", 5'7", so maybe if I was shorter, I would never feel that, but I'm fine. And like something Real said, I actually also like wore these Converse shoes, and they have like 3 or 4 inch height boost, and like I was just wearing them outside, and man, it's a different world, let me tell you. Like you just feel so much better. So what people I think fail to realize, especially even like therapists might fail to realize, is that how deeply it affects somebody. And like it's like once the thought is in your head, you can't really get it out. So once you go down this rabbit hole, it's you know, and like I'm not saying that if you're a certain height you can't be loved or you won't be successful or anything like that. Mark Zuckerberg is 5'7", but Jeff Bezos is 5'7". It's not impossible, but it's just harder. And if you are somebody in life, you want the best for yourself, the best odds at finding the love of your life, or like finding the dream career, or like you know doing, I don't know, whatever, just like being, I guess, some people like in the NBA and stuff, if they just were a couple of inches taller, they would be the number 1 draft pick. Instead, they're at 100. So
Absolutely.
it can really change your life. Like people just don't realize the impact the surgery has on people.
I agree with you guys. Yeah. go ahead.
Exactly like you said about success and all that. I know like the people that would even make comment to me. I mean, I'm like 20 times success you have. Like I've done what you have. Like you are nothing, but all you got is height on me, and all you have to do was sleep and eat. You did nothing for this. What I have in my life, I worked my ass off. I might not be even the person that I am today if I was 6 foot tall. I might have changed my perspective, and maybe I would not push myself as hard as I did. Like I fought all my life. Like I mean, competitions. I don't think I ever lost. Like I push myself to limits where there's like there's no limits to it. And same with work. I'll work twice as hard as the next guy beside me. I'll succeed 4 times what the other guy can do. And that's like, but I couldn't fix my height. And when those comments would come at me, one time I sat the guy down and I told him, I said, listen, you're done with your freaking comments. I've had enough. I said, I was born, but like my height was determined when I was born. The color of my eyes are blue. I could not change them. But I said, what I decided to do with my life, that's on me. So I'm no crackhead. I work my ass off, and I'm successful. And most people have those comments. They're less successful than you, and it's the only thing that can bring you down with. And exactly what Jake said, they're the one that need therapy, not me. Like that's exactly what it is. And so yes, you're right. You can be successful at 4 foot tall, and you can do anything. And I always said that too to people. I said, listen, at like 5'5", whatever I was, it never stopped me from doing anything. I said, whatever you did in your life, I can do, and I can do it better. Like I'm not an NBA player, but maybe in a few years, a few more surgeries, the Raptors will call me.
Real, I think this is the Canadian mindset as well here, because for some reason, to really honestly though, to be honest with you, like I find the exact same thing. I find because I'm 5'4", I work much harder than most people. I'll spend the extra hours. I'll get up earlier or stay later. I am a top 1% in a company. I work for a large financial institution. I'm a top 1%er, and I'm 5'4". I don't think it's held me back. I just think
no, for sure.
I just think mentally and physically, like I'll feel better about average daily life, like going into a Costco and not feeling like you're a 12-year-old walking around. I think that's the reason why I'm doing it. It's not so much for success. I think that people that are maybe shorter, smaller, feel like they have to work harder for things, and they get success because of it. And I also think because of the cost of this surgery, I would say the majority of people getting these surgeries probably have to have the financial resources to do it, right? So they're already proving their success by being able to afford this surgery. Like it's not cheap, like $105,000. It's not a cheap surgery. If you go to Paley, it's like $150,000 surgery. Like these people are giving up a lot of assets in order to get what they want, and they're probably already successful to begin with. I don't know if it has anything to do with height. I think it's more mindset than anything, but it's just an interesting conversation
Yeah.
about, you can either sit and dwell about your height, or you can work your ass off and prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, it's
Can I add
exactly
on?
what I said. The other guy that's 6 foot tall, he only ate Cheerios and slept. Well, I had to get my legs broken. Paid 100,000 to get this done. Past a year of working with legs that broken, crutches and trenches. That I earned my 3 inches. That's
Yeah.
it. So I would love to argue my point with anybody else. Believe me.
Yeah. Also, I really like what Alan said. I think for me, it has been the same, wherein my success hasn't been affected by my height in any regard. And it's just that I don't want to sometimes, feel like a child. I mean, technically, I'm just 19 right now, so I am very young. But yeah, I just don't feel like an adult, I feel like an adult in a child's body. And I've always been like very mature for my age since a young age. So I've always felt that in a way because I'd always hang out with like 10 years older than me. And right now at college, like my best friends are professors because I like to talk philosophy with them. And the students at my age just don't understand the stuff. So I really understand that. And it's also like how much you are giving up for the surgery, as Rial said, you have to pay 100 grand to get your legs broken for stay a year out, like personally
Yeah.
for me right now, as I said, I'm super young, so I haven't had the opportunity to earn money yet, but I am at like a top 5 business school in the world, so
Nice.
I
That's awesome.
I have to work my ass off in school and a job to get this done. So after doing this, nobody can tell me, that, and
Yeah.
I can also tell myself, you can do anything, and you worked hard for this. And then I think, say a 5'9" guy who's worked hard for his height is always going to be more confident than a 5'10", 5'11" guy who's just naturally that tall because they know they have worked for this, right? It's the
Yeah.
same concept. When you worked hard for something, you're just because you deserve it, and you get to enjoy the benefits a lot more because you've also seen the other side in a way.
It's true.
So
Good
M-
point.
May I add on to that?
And
Sure.
I think like a lot of the tallest people, they don't really think about it like at all. Like they don't come. It doesn't come to their mind like height, stuff. They're already tall. They don't worry about it.
No, you got to live it. You have to live that short foot, that 5 foot life. Until you live the
So-
5 foot life, you can't talk.
And also I think it has to do a lot with the people around you. Like for example, in my case, I never thought about it that much, even though I'm this short. I'm 5'3", but I never thought about it that much because the people around me were not that tall, between 5'7", 5'9", And I've been together with my wife for 20 years, and she's 5'4", and it's been great, But it started to hit me when my oldest son started middle school. I started taking him to middle school, and then I'm realizing then like, man, all these kids are taller than me. And then I saw my son grow taller than me. That's when it really like started to hit me like oh, wow, I wish I could be a little taller. And then one day I just found out about it. I was searching to Instagram, so I saw some of these clinics, they're posting a lot of videos and stuff. So I quickly found Victor, which is the best thing that happened to me because, man, I've been learning so much from all you guys. I'm a prospective patient. I'm not, I'm not like anything anywhere close to getting it done. But hopefully in a couple of months I'll be able to do it. But I've been taking my
That's
time.
close. You should start stretching now.
Yeah, very close.
Well, yeah,
You
I
can
had a
stretching
consultation.
Cannot underestimate how important it is. Good.
Yeah, I had a
Consultation, you're right there.
consultation a few weeks ago with Paley, and they told me that was super tight. So they gave me a couple of stretches to do. So I'm working on that right now. But thanks to you guys, because you guys are doing a great coming here, telling us all your stories, day by day, and it gives us like a good point of view of what to expect, and also learning about this because for example, Victor, when he did his, there was no source like this to get info from, you know. So this is a great tool of for learning, you know, to get it done safely, you know, to get to choose a good surgeon, you know the steps of what you're going to be expecting to get it done right. Like I wish a lot of more people come here like I'm doing, just to get ready for this and learn and listen to you guys every day, more than once. Repeat the podcast over and over so you can get all the details, and you know, and get ready for
podcasts. There's a lot of content out there.
Well, yeah, there is, but it's the unknown that's scary about the whole surgery. It's always, once you've done it, you're like, my God, it's like, you know, and then you kind of forget. People ask you, what do you do with it? I'm like, shit, I don't remember. I'm like, but yeah, it's the unknown that's the most scary part of this. You know,
I got my CPA license like 6 or 7 years ago, and so like if someone was to ask me like, can they? And I'll be like, yeah, absolutely, do this, do that, and they're like, holy crap, that's a lot. And I'm like, yes, that's why it matters. That's why it's valuable. Okay, that's why there are 3 letters after my name. Okay, because they make a difference. Okay, there's gonna be 3 letters after my name, 3 additional inches to my height. We're good to go.
Yeah, and 3 inches is a big difference.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I said that the 3 inches is a big difference. Like, you know, it might not seem as much, but being 3 inches taller is a huge difference.
It's a world of difference. Yeah. NailedLegs, you had something to say. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add on a little bit to what Real and LM said, where you know, LM mentioned how, you know, to do this procedure, you have to already kind of be well off. I mean, you have to be doing pretty good in life, because it is a very expensive surgery. You know, nobody, you have to shell out quite a bit, and then you know, most people are probably going to put work on hold. I understand that, you know, Real just worked through it. You know, more power to you, man. I'm sure that was hard.
Yeah, I had no choice. Not because I wanted to.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Real, you also mentioned, you know, about how, you know, if you were taller, you know, you probably would have done a lot different things in life. You know, if you were 6 foot.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't have pushed myself as hard. I was saying, you know, like maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I still have the same mentality, but I'm thinking, you know, I feel like some people, you know, they might. It's like a guy that you know, is powerful, strong. He's already got the physique. Is he going to be as ambitious to go to the gym? Probably not. As myself, I hit that gym like, you know, like it was a religion. Like I never stopped, and I'm still going to the gym because, you know, I couldn't get the height, but I was like, I'm gonna get the muscles. That's for damn sure.
So I do definitely think if you were to compare, say, a patient, you know, say they were, I don't know, 5'7", and they were just, you know, grew to be that height, and you have somebody else, they were 5'7", but they got to that height with limb lengthening. I think that person that is 5'7", but with limb lengthening, I think their outlook on life, they're going to be just much more confident, because they played life on hard mode. They really had to work for it. They really had to earn every little thing they had in life. They weren't just given it, whether, you know, it was finances, because as we all know, shorter men get paid less. So you had to push that much harder for the pay. You know, your romantic prospects, any romantic prospects, you know, you were successful and you had to work that much harder for. You know, you had to be funny, you had to be confident, you had to be, you know, groomed, dressed, the whole nines, everything. And I do know, you know, I wonder, how many opportunities have I lost out on because of my height? And even though I have been quite successful myself, you know, I'm pretty young. I'll just say that I'm in my 20s, and I'm doing, you know, pretty good financially for, you know, how young I am. And even romantically, even in light of my height, you know, I'm 5'5", but there was one example, and you couldn't get clearer than this. I mean, this was very easy to understand. Long story short, and I'll abbreviate it because it's YouTube. There was a girl, and great things happened, fun things happened, whatever. Cool. I'm leaving. As we were leaving, you know, we were just chatting and and the topic of height came up. And she mentioned something about how, well, as long as I'm shorter than you, or as long as you're taller than me. And she put, you know, her hand to the top of her head, and she kind of like drew it across, if you guys know what I mean, to like my head. And so at that point in time, I was probably like a half inch taller than her. Meanwhile, she had no idea that I was wearing platform shoes. And so I was probably at least 2, if not 3 inches taller than I normally would have been. And I thought to myself, wow, if I didn't have, these Yeezys on with the 2-inch shoe lift, I would have never gone back to her house. This would have never happened. And you can't get a more clear example than that. And so I wonder, how many other opportunities have I lost out on in light of my height? And I guess I won't know until I head on down to South Africa, but I am excited to learn.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great point there, NailedLegs. Really cool. I love it.
I had a question for y'all as well.
Sure.
NailedLegs, Socrates, Real. At my age, if you were 19 and you are planning to and I guess Juke as well, I think he mentioned he did it at the end of his studies. Do you think doing it at 21, 22 is the optimal time? I can also then basically just tell people it was a growth spurt, right? It still happens.
The sooner you do it, the better, because the sooner you do it, the more you get to enjoy that height. Also, the younger you are, the better you're going to recover from it. And the one thing you have to consider is if your epiphyseal plates are closed or not. That's something that your surgeon can determine. But if your epiphyseal plates are closed, do it as soon as you can, because you have to think, you don't want to be going through your 20s. I mean, maybe Real could talk about it, but I'm sure Real probably would have preferred he got this surgery 10, 20 years ago. I'm sure he probably would have liked that more, basically.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it until I was in my 50s. Believe me, I would have got that done when I was 4 years old if I knew. My God. I had no idea this existed. And all I saw was some little news feed that said something about people in let's say Facebook and YouTube working. The taller people get the promotions. So the people at the top of those companies were getting lengthening. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I was on vacation when I saw this. And then next thing you know, I was in Mexico on the phone with Victor. And I booked my consultation from Mexico. Or I think I was in Mexico, somewhere like that. I was done. That's it. I was getting it done. Yeah. Oh yeah, I would have done it way before. And at 50, it's a little harder.
The best time to do it is 2 days after your growth plates close. Just get it done.
I would say, yeah, definitely at the end of your studies is the best time to do it. Not only are you young, but I mean, I haven't gone through it yet, but your obligations in life haven't really started yet. You've just finished your biggest one in college and you haven't gotten a full-time job yet. So you really have that freedom. Obviously, financially, it's probably harder. I was lucky enough to have I have moderately severe bow legs. So I got through that insurance loophole. So I kind of have the ideal position, but I would say, yeah, at the end of your studies would be the best time.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
fantastic.
thanks.
Very good.
Also, another thing. So I don't know, maybe it's being greedy or something, but I want to obviously get quadrilateral done. Just that 6 foot ideal, I don't know if it's real. It is realistic, obviously. It's just that I'm gonna get it done in a year because I want to get on with my career, and as much as we view this surgery in a positive light, you want to get it done once and for all and then move on with your life.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys think doing it in a year? I talked with Dr. Burkults in South Africa and he's we can get it done in a year. There is no issues. Space it out by 6 months and easily get it done. But do you guys think that it's worth it, taking that risk and so that you can just get on with it?
So you're asking for quadrilateral lengthening, if you should do it spaced apart, or?
No, basically means to those who have gone through the surgery, do you guys think 3 inches is more than enough and you're satisfied once it's done, or do you really I know Real is thinking about doing tibias as well, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, like we said earlier, Sparrow, I think that it's going to have to depend on you. I personally think if your goal, you said you're 5'6" or 7, to get to 6 foot, that's 5 inches. I say do one surgery, femurs, max them out as best possible. See if you like your height. If you're confident, or like if you're comfortable with that gain in height and you don't need to get any more, stop. There's no point. But it's gonna be a personal decision. I think that you can ask anybody every day, what do they think, and they can all have different answers. I could say go for it. NailedLegs might say you might be good at 5'10". Real said go for it definitely. He'd say slam dunk that bad boy. But I think it's going to be a personal decision, and that's why I can't ever tell anybody like what they should go for. I can say based on what their goal is, I can reverse engineer it and kind of help them get there. But I think that I can never say like you should go for 6 foot, because once you get to 5'10", you might say, hey man, I'm good. I'm good to go. So it's going to be a personal decision.
One of the downfall when you do the two like tibias and femurs, you're not going to get the full 3-inch in your femurs. You're not going to get your 2.5 in your tibias. So if you separate them, you're going to max out both almost. Like you'll get the full of each, unless you do like the other gentleman where he did a little bit in each, but he's going back for another surgery to get 3-inch in his tibias and another like up to 3-inch and 3-inch. But he's doing it in 2 operations. So
yeah, I talked with Dr. B about that, and one thing I have going for me is like I have really good flexibility in my legs. So he's like, and I also have a bit of a longer legs. So I won't say super long legs, but long legs for my height. So that also helps with, the overall percentage height gain that's happening. So he said that basically 8 and 5 is doable in 6 months. Obviously, I'll have to work hard with physiotherapy and stuff, and maybe I turn out like DJ Cyborg and zoom through my recovery.
It's like flexibility. Like, to be honest, I was extremely flexible throughout my lengthening. Like, I'd go to my consultation at the doctor's, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, how come? Like, they would just take my knee and push it right up to my shoulder. Like, I'm on my back, and I had so much flexibility. But I got my 3-inch, and I'm telling you that your muscles are very easy to hurt. Like, if you could injure yourself easily at 3-inch. Your hips crack, like it's pulling on the hips. You don't realize, but little muscle, little things in that, like 3 inches is a lot. And you need that flexibility to get to 3-inch. I couldn't have imagined doing my tibias and this at the same time. I'd be like, I'm missing some skin here. You're going to see through my skin soon, because it's like, it's way too much stretching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but I do think like 6 months is an ideal period of time to space it out, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend. Your surgeon will probably know best for your specific case, but I think that the longer the better, because it gives your body more time to recover. But definitely see how you recover specifically, because I'll tell you, your specific case might be completely different than Real's. So
Yeah. Also, like that's why it's important to go with a world-class surgeon, somebody like Dr. B, because like he's gonna tell you when to stop. Because like I don't know about other people, but I like to push myself a lot. So. And it's just going to end up hurting you. So, like, get that good surgeon, guys.
That's right. Go for a good surgeon. All right, guys.
This is the Cadillac of plastic surgeries, of cosmetic surgeries. You cannot get a Cadillac for Ford prices.
Oh, no, it's kind of like a Chevy. You should know that.
Yeah, also, just one surgery itself is something hard,
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Just one surgery by itself is a long and tough process,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So my mindset right now is just going with the first one first, get it all done with, and then after that I'll think about the tibias. But right now I can't be thinking of the 2 surgeries at one shot. That's like it's not even realistic. When you go deep about the whole process.
That's a very healthy thought process, because I'll tell you this, it's very easy to look at it and like see the end result on some flashy video and say, oh, that's 5 inches, taller. I want that, But when you actually do it and you break your legs and you're sitting in a wheelchair or a hospital bed the day after surgery, you're like, oh crap, what did I do? So, I mean, I'm sure Socrates had that same thought. Everybody else did. So
no, I'm at 6.5 centimeters. I'm like, do I really need this last centimeter? And then, of course, like 5 seconds later, I'm like, of course, like, what the hell?
Right. Right. It's hard to throw up. All right, guys. So I think we had like 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. So this one was a funny question. I thought it was. I saw it said, why do people not just lengthen the one leg and then keep it as a secret and then claim insurance for the other leg because now they have a leg length discrepancy problem? That's so funny.
Going to jail for fraud is not a pleasant thing.
Right. Yeah.
With one long leg.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You're going to be dropping the soap a lot.
Fuck my legs.
There you go. That's the answer right there. I'm sorry, AB1 Ash.
Because insurance companies have incredibly talented adjusters and underwriters. They're going to ask all kinds of questions. They're going to catch you in your lie.
Absolutely. And the surgeon may not participate. Like a lot of times, if you have bow legs, that could be a medical necessity. The surgeon will do some sort of writing that can get it passed through the underwriters. But this, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So if you have good insurance, they're going to have good underwriters and adjusters. If you have bad insurance, they're not going to have it, and they're not going to cover anything.
They're not going to cover it anyway. Right.
You're up the creek either way.
Yeah, exactly. It's very hard. That's why it's not covered. But the thing you said about Israel earlier, I think that might be pretty interesting. I don't think our government would adopt it, but you never know. So this one's from Quadruple GH. Question for Socrates. Do you feel that your culture influenced your decision for the surgery? Because as a Hispanic, 5'6" is just about normal, but for Americans, that would be pretty short. Do you feel comfortable answering that, or?
So I get the impression you're assuming I'm Hispanic because of my skin color. I'm not. So I am pretty damn short in my family. I don't really care about like other people, but like my extended family, even in Egypt, they're all skyscrapers. It's really unfortunate. Unfortunate for them, unfortunate for me. And
your brother's how tall? Your brother's 6 foot?
My brother's 6 foot. My other brother's 5'10". My brother-in-law's 6'2". My brother-in-law's brother is 6'3". It's just like, why didn't I get some of that water? Like, what the hell? So it's not so much my ethnicity, like as the proud son of pharaohs. The pharaohs were known to be freaking giants too, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Only 5'6". This is just like disrespectful to my heritage. So yeah, it had an influence. There's a lot of other stuff that influenced it. Like I said, I've been wearing elevator shoes for going on 10 years now, right? So I've always been self-conscious about my height. And which, like, I found out about cosmetic limb lengthening, and I scheduled my consultation with Dr. Asiag the next week, right? And then I scheduled another consultation, like a second opinion with Dr. Paley, 2 months down the road. Had consultations with my podiatrist about my ankle that was bothering me, and I couldn't have it immediately because of my marathon. And I was like, I need this marathon off my bucket list before I break my legs. And that's the only reason I'm still distracted. If I didn't have if I had already taken care of the marathon, then I would have probably had the surgery done in September.
And you would have been probably done by now.
I would have been consolidating, or maybe even done.
Yeah, that's very cool. Cool,
but
awesome. Yeah,
like but like the gentleman said, like if you're in Mexico and you're like 5'6", you know, it would probably not be an issue with being 5'6", because you're right there, right? But if you're in like America or Canada and 5'9" is kind of like, I would say, the mark that if you're 5'8" and the guy's 5'9", that makes no difference. But if you're 5'6" and most of the people are 5'9", that makes a difference. So yeah, if I was in Asia or Mexico, probably I would not have been as much prone, and maybe I would never have gotten a comment of that in my life. But
my ex-wife was 5'6" exactly, and I'm 5'5" and 3/4, right? So we like did the thing where you measure your shoulders on the wall and whatnot, and she thought it was really cute that she's taller than me when we're like flat-footed, and I was like, might be cute, but it's not very manly. So it is what it is.
Awesome. All right, guys. So and yeah, he just kind of made this comment that a surgeon said. She said that a 5'3" man that hates his life can't be called crazy because you can literally see how short he is compared to a normal sized man. That's a fair point.
Was this a therapist or like a psychiatrist who said that?
I think it was a surgeon. Well, the surgeon interview. It might have been Dr. Gillis from Canada. But fantastic. Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with that statement. It's very true. It's a very objective trait. You can see it. and then what's in your head with dysmorphic thoughts is internal. But guys, that was incredible. I think that was one of our best streams in a long time. Patient discussion. I think we had some really good topics in here. So I just want to give my thanks to, who do we have on here first? Tim joined, then we had Socrates, Real joined, NailedLegs, Aiden, Juke, LM, Sparrow. This was a full pack show. Lots of value packed in here. The timestamps are going to take 2 weeks, but they'll be there eventually. But no, this is really incredible. I think that this is one that we got to highlight because you guys are helping. Sparrow said it earlier. Everybody who contributes to discussions like this, somebody's taking some piece of information. Like Aiden says, he's been watching for months, or even Real, he's been following you. He's a big fan of yours. Socrates, I've talked to your fans. NailedLegs, somebody emailed me the other day about you. I mean, people in the comments, you guys are all changing your people's lives. So I want to extend my thanks to every single one of you for coming on and sharing your experiences, the findings that you've guys gotten from all over the world. I want to thank Dr. Paley's Instagram post as well for giving some information about the pmax as well. But no, yeah, guys, I really appreciate it. This is a long one. Yeah, Socrates with his book of Too Tall, Too Small. Check it out. It's by John Gillis. Oh, we can't hear you. I think you're on.
Dr. John S. Gillis.
Okay, Dr. John S. Gillis. So if you guys want to check that out, it has some really good things about height and the population and how it views it. But this is incredible. So yeah, so give me some time to do timestamps. We'll just kind of find out what happens next week. I think I'm going to do a discrepancy roundtable in the next week or two because there's been some of those coming through my channel as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have. So if you guys are all good with that, no last words, we're going to go ahead and close out the show. So for episode 114 of Limb Lengthening Live, this is Victor, Cyborg for Life, and all these amazing patients. And I want to thank every single one of you guys watching. Ben, for helping out in the chat. It's been a long chat. I know you've been helping out with that. Yeah, we're signing out. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Yes.
Take care.
See you.